all, and welcome. I'm your not-so-humble Game Master, TJ, and this is Dice of Ages presenting CrestVahllen featuring Baker's Dozen. Bread for Adventure. It's a special day.
Yeah.
Today,
What am I?
Today was a good day. Yesterday was a good day, too. Cool. I forgot what I was going to do. Oh, right. Nope, that's not the button. There we go. There's the button. So, a lot of stuff happened last time. You guys know how the court mechanics work now. I have an Excel spreadsheet for stuff. That's right up here. That affects what's going on. So let's just get into that recap. All right, this was fun. Thank you, Rachel. Meeting with the lead prosecutor Olario Oleno III to get a crash course in court processes, Masheni is shocked to learn that the party is being countersued by the Northern Dynasty for possible charges of villainy and piracy. You got the wrong guy, Tammy proclaims, upon learning he must now defend himself and the crew in addition to preparing the Tananawi's case they came to put before the court. Adjourning to their luxury accommodations at the noble profession, a high-class brothel and hostelry, Bychem gleefully arranges for Tammy to have an alluring and androgynous makeover to serve as a camouflage among the clientele. The blue bow, now adorned in flowing silks and gowns, and a blonde bulbous bouffant, is joined by Mistress Nakano, who struts, bedecked in a black studded ring harness, corset, and thigh-high patent leather boots. Masheni conjures a quick truth serum to help loosen up lawyers' tongues as the three divas depart, prepared with hopes that their wiles will loosen lips at the local legal eagle watering hole. Whoops. Here we go. The Lavender Dominatrix becomes the belle of the ball as the Cobalt courtesan remains mostly ignored amongst the crowd. The Magenta Mommy grants Tamarin permission to speak as he eventually proceeds to chat with a halfling paralegal about the case. She whispers that two Dynast cabinet officials are in attendance for the case, while Masheni, dressed as a belly dancer, attempts to dose patrons' drinks with truth serum. Nakano and Tammy are able to purloin some of the serum from Masheni as the outed clinger-on is marched out of the establishment. The voracious, tipsy lawyer divulges that the pirates being sued by the government have been accused of treasonous acts that violated their sovereignty, as well as aiding in the incitement of malicious malcontent and possible rebellion. A scoop carefully reads the rumoring lips of the crowd, learning that the Daifon is indeed planning to attend the proceedings, that the defense lawyer Bengano is well known for impressive... and that the defense lawyer Bengano is well known for the impressive character assassinations. The Pale Priest catches the word that recently legislated laws written and supported by the Vodomo make the bureaucratic process of charitable land transfers extremely extortionate, as well as practically, nigh impossible to change without the support of the nobles of the Northern Dynasty, which have a lot of propagandists running the issue. The Violet Violence, armed with a truth serum, is directed by a Scoop's gaze to notice an assumed changeling. The determined Dom sucker punches the suspect, ardently selling her BDSM guise. With suave alacrity, Nakano successfully doses the flirting stranger, but is soon taken aback by a visage of Tananawi features mixed with the likeness of Honoria. Taking advantage of Vodomo Virador Dude's vulnerable and impressionable state, the Amethyst Assassin presses for one truthful response to one question. What is the name of the person who instigated the Red Lion Syndicate contract that involved Fruth Lavud? Nakano recoils as the visage becomes that of her frightening nemesis, Masha Ehrenbach, who calmly declares, I need those lands. I need to make sure they are mine. There is something in them that I want that cannot be lost to those who don't know what they always had. Some time later, Olario Oleno guides the adventurers into the oubliette-style courtroom for the military trial of the Baker's Dozen and the survivors of cultural injustice versus the state of the Northern Dynasty, whereupon they discover justice is truly blind, as is the judge. Tamron's eloquent opening statement for the prosecution tells of how the Baker's Dozen found two pitiful shipwrecked souls formerly of the Stormbringer by the names of Saelflick and Femni. Well, actually, they're not formerly of the Stormbringer. Let's fix that. Tammy elucidates upon the order that Saelflick overheard before their ship and all those aboard met their untimely demise. No survivors, no witnesses. With a sense of gravitas, the Drakesh declares that the only reason one would call for a total annihilation of witnesses would be in the wake of terrible crimes, most notably in the form of social injustice, genocide, and massacre. Bombastically representing the defense, Bellario Barata Bengano, the bolo-tied, bedecked barrister, calls for an immediate dismissal of the case on the grounds that the members of the prosecution are currently outlaws. Macheni receives a warning from the judge about the use of influential spellcraft in the courtroom, as Bellario resumes his opening statement, calling the crew pirates and privateers, being countersued for their involvement in the events in question. The slick solicitor lists infractions such as having legally intervened in military engagements, inciting a coup within the nation of Shilong, and supporting acts of piracy and treason. Mr. Grounder responds, suggesting that, under the auspices of the Bardic University, he may invoke Bardic immunity in the case for the actions of himself and the crew in proposed such capacity. The court is shocked by this assertion, and the judge requires a brief recess to consider which such self-defense claims. After such recess, Macheni submits a vial of cephalomorph CNS fluid as evidence of bardic activity. And Tammy submits archaeological specimens to demonstrate his veracity. The judge rules that Tamron's bardic immunity does not extend to his comrades or crew. However, the Drakesh may choose to either recuse himself of all crimes and leave, or reject his immunity in favor of continuing to participate in the proceedings. Tammy loyally stands with his Baker's Dozen, signing to waive his bardic immunity. The judge orders the Koenig Magus present so messages may be sent to the Bardic University and otherwise. However, Macheni inadvertently and devastatingly learns that the Maresian College of the Anima Jinn has been dissolved by religious zealots, and with it, her ability to practice medicine legally. All right, and that's where we are now. At this moment, just to kind of set the scene, we are still in court after recess, after things that happened with the scoop, technically, because that's also a scheme and whatever, where we're about to start the trial in earnest. Now, as is the order of trial, it is up to the prosecution to bring forth arguments, call people to the stand, whatever have you, in order for, because you are prosecuting someone of something, you're accusing someone of something, so now it's time for you to, make good on whatever it is that you're accusing someone. And then the defense will get a chance to either cross-examine a witness, or have a rebuttal, or object, or however that's going to work. And you kind of just go back and forth until, you feel like there's nothing further, and then you move on to another topic. Mm-hmm. At any time, just as a reminder, at literally any fucking time, please interrupt me. Raise your hand, clap your hands, whatever it is. I know I go off on tangents, and I know I talk a lot. I'm working on it. You may use a scheme. Now, I would prefer. No, I'm not going to even say that. had the intention of making each scheme just one scheme point or one scheme token type of thing. Granted, if you want to do some like really crazy, absolute insane, high risk, high reward, who knows anything, that I might call for the use of one or more scheme tokens if you're trying to do some real absolute out of pocket shenanigans. But I'll try to be as lenient as possible with that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
All right.
I believe at the end of last session, we were during the recess, we were allowed to communicate with anybody we wanted to.
That's correct.
They offered us.
Yeah.
So during the recess, you do have access to the Koenig Magus. So yeah, as the Koenig Magus comes into your chambers. Let me just make sure I have the right button. Who's got the button? The Twin Isles button. Where are you? There we go. The Koenig Magus will come to your chambers. Their name, they walk into your chambers as they come in. They're in these like kind of flowing robes that touch the ground of this kind of blue and green, this azure and emerald type style with a bit of gold filigree and border of fringe around the edges. The hood does cover their entire face. They seem of short stature, but not halfling short stature. Not gnome, not dwarf short stature either. They seem just short. And as they pull their hood back, you see this is a child. This is a human child. And they say, "Hello, I'm the Koenig Magus, Roland Bakra, sorcerer and studied magician. I'm a little new at this, but you say you need to send magical messages. I was ordered by a court order, and so I had to like really interrupt the printing I was doing, and then just to get called here. But hello."
Hello.
You
Nice
guys
to meet
look
you.
stunned. What's going on?
Hey.
Yeah,
hi.
a little stunned.
Yeah.
It's all. None of us are lawyers, and yet here we are, seeming
Yeah.
to be lawyers and witnesses, and
Yeah. better
so yeah, it's
learn
all a
about
little
me.
overwhelming.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, if I'll do my best. I'm supposed to do is I'm under a certain type of like contract where I'm not allowed to talk about what it is that you send to people. All I do is just repeat what it is that you would like to send to someone. But I believe one of my contracted things is that I am required to send a message from Mr. Tamron Grounder to an officiant of the Bardic University in Tulay as to
Yes,
be
that's right.
determined. I'm required to at least deliver that message. Happy to do some others if you wish. I can only do so many, but yeah, as long as it doesn't. Honestly, it's kind of up to my discretion, but I'm also not allowed to speak of this to literally anybody else. So you have like attorney-client privilege kind of thing with me. Also, I have so much stuff going on, I doubt I would remember.
That makes sense.
You got it.
Do we need to?
This looks like an 11-year-old child, like 11-year-old human child, like boy-ish,
I'm assuming just based on some other spellcraft that we've come across before, we have to describe who we're sending it to, or are you? I mean, you are the Koenig Magus, so don't want to just assume.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a new thing. The other one just kind of like up and disappeared, so I just kind of fell into the role. But halfway across the fucking continent too. But don't worry about it.
How new are you?
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe a baker's dozen weeks. I don't remember. Somewhere around there, a couple months, maybe less.
Okay. Yeah, that's still pretty. it's not a lot of time to get used to your new surroundings and everything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The job description was pretty like, hey, you can do whatever you want. Just like when we order you to do something, we'd really appreciate it if you would listen. And yeah, I just again like don't tell anybody, but I could just like peace out if I really don't like it, because like what are they gonna do? But I mean, it seems to be okay. I also get like funding for all of my research and printing and all that jazz, and so. But yeah, I don't think you have any constraints. Just as long as I don't see a problem with it, as far as being like I don't know treasonous to like the Northern Dynasty or whatever, Northern South. Who cares really?
Okay.
Well, we're not treasonous bunch, so I don't think that'll be an issue.
I wouldn't know. I don't really follow public events or current events at all. So I was just ordered here by a supreme judge and doing my job.
Okay. How many of
Sorry, are you able to send something to Pendleton Beville in the?
Pendleton Beville. Oh, it helps to know the name. Yeah. Do you have to have like an object of theirs or a likeness or something? Or even something of theirs, perhaps, that was ever on their person? That would help.
I believe I still have that letter.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a letter signed by them, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll really help. That'll be a lot. That means they touched it and they put their own signature. Oh, yeah, that'll be super helpful. It should increase the chances of success a lot. Perfect. Yeah. Again, I'm good at spells, but still new at the whole working with other people type of thing. So, do you want to ad-lib it and just have me cast the spell, or do you want to like write it down?
I have
then
something
have me-
written down. I think it might be too many words for like actually spend.
So you get
sending.
25 words per message, and then
Okay.
they get to respond with 25 words. I can do multiple messages. How about that? I have 8 messages in the bank right now. I already did the defense, and I mean my max is 8. I can like use a little bit of like hoo and like regain some energy by kind of bending the will of the universe and kind of giving myself a little kind of cheating, I guess, in order to give myself some more spellcraft batteries, I guess. But I could do 8. I'd prefer not to do more than 4 if I can help it, just so I can get home today. But it's okay. It's okay. If you need me to do 8, I do 8. I'm like technically contractually binded to do whatever it is you need to do to the best of my ability. So
Okay.
I don't want to make you
think
feel bad.
maybe I think I can say what I need to say to Pendleton in 2 sendings.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. Just so you know, would you prefer to? Do you want me to send them rapid fire because they get a response of 25 words per one that I send out, or do you
I
need
think just
all the
rapid
messages?
fire the first 2, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, you got it. Is it written in common?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why don't you just read it aloud then? They grab the signed piece of paper for this, and they like, okay, I'll cast the spell, and they start working and casting the spell. Tamron, as they're casting the spell, why don't you roll an Arcana check for me?
Oh, it's so far away. 18.
18. There's something very familiar about the way they cast their spells. They don't appear to be like, but there's also something unfamiliar about the way they cast their spells. Like they're, it looks like they reference a document or kind of like, those like Dewey Decimal reference cards that are in like those old pull-out wooden things where you have to flip through all those cards for like your book. It looks like they have kind of like a janitor keychain, like kind of like a Rolodex of those types of things. And they look like they quickly reference one, and then they kind of reach into the ether and just kind of grab the energy of the spell, similar to how you invoke spell work. Like, and it's interesting, like they're pulling from by rote stuff, but also instinctual stuff. Like they have like a wizard and sorcerer aspect to the way they cast spells, and you definitely sense that there's something about them inherently that makes them magical, just by blood or whatever. Kind of like how kind of similar to how you are like a sorcerer. They definitely have some sorcerer bits to them, which also may explain the fact that it's possible for them to do what it is they do at the age of 11. Because usually when you study magic like a wizard does, it takes years and years and years and years and years. So they kind of have like pieces of both, and they form the spell, and they kind of have to, because there's a somatic component to it. They kind of have to like hold their thing. So you see them like they can't seem to like use their hands like. Yeah. So
I have exactly 50 words too. I just can't. Tam and Grounder here. I need to invoke bardic immunity for myself and my crew during research.
Tam and Grounder here. I need to invoke bardic immunity for myself and my crew.
During research, we were embroiled in humanitarian efforts.
During research, we were embroiled in humanitarian efforts.
Due to appearances and weaponry involved to deal with literal monsters.
Due to appearances and weaponry involved in literal monsters?
Involved to deal with literal monsters. We have been mistaken and prosecuted as pirates.
We have been mistaken and prosecuted as pirates.
Any influence in the court appreciated to continue research.
They like recast the spell because that was 50 words and like. They say like in between, like I can't I can't fix what I say. What I say is like if I speak at all, it just goes through. I just can't. And so go ahead and repeat that last bit. Cast the spell again.
Any influence in the court appreciated to continue research.
Any influence in the court is appreciated for continued research. Was that okay?
I think you got the gist.
Okay, sorry. Gist is kind of like. I'm still.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Getting response. Oh dear.
No. Oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh my. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, that was a little confusing because they started to respond while I was sending the other one. So I'm just let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me think. I'm just trying to like pull it apart. Okay. Something about how has been a motion to make the College of the Unearthed a secession of the Bardic University, and how houses of the Lithuanian Confederacy are attempting to, I guess, bail out the College of the Unearthed in exchange for a majority of ownership. Pendleton wants to help. At least that's what I got from his tone. He'll send what he can when he can. And the message ends with a question. Is actually, I'm going to roll for him, see if he understands, because it gets cut off. He ends with a question. I think he was intending to ask, because he kind of got cut off halfway through the question, of what specifically type of information you want from him. I'm pretty good at this type of thing. I got a sense that, I mean, you're sending this to Tule. I mean, unless somebody's magic like I am, there's no way they're going to get to you fast enough. But, I mean, if you need information, I'm sure there's magical ways to do it.
I mean, could he be a good character witness for you, at least?
Yeah. Is there a way to have somebody appear magically in court via Zoom?
It is a cool new spell. It's like
no, but I do know that there are like couriers that the Bardic University likes to use. that are somewhat wispy, that kind of carry certain things and move from place to place. But I think there are a few of them that have teleport capabilities. But if you're asking for them to cast themselves, no, that's like messages is really the best way to do it. It seems like they want to help. They kind of are dealing with their own crisis right now, but Pendleton seems like he's willing to
sounds
help.
bad.
He just doesn't know what. He also doesn't seem like it's interesting. Like he doesn't seem. His voice didn't seem like he was upset, like it was a crisis, as much as he was very, very busy. He didn't seem mad or upset or surprised. It was just, I don't know. It's like when you were expecting a certain amount of work and then you have a bunch more work. It was more of exasperated, I suppose.
Yeah. Didn't seem to be bothered by the fact that the prosecutor is a pirate.
I'm not really allowed to say. I'm not really allowed. I know something that could make you feel better, but I'm legally not allowed to talk to you about it.
Then lip it.
You're allowed to write it down. they say anything about nothing in the rule book about writing things down.
No.
What about pretty good at research? Do you have an idea? Is it like a legal code?
I mean,
like a chapter, like, maybe some night reading for the afternoon?
I can't tell you that the Bardic University and those of the bards often find themselves in positions that may be extra legal. And I can't tell you how that often makes them as outlaws, so it kind of has become a norm. And I can't tell you how a bunch of precedent has been set to kind of be whatever about that type of thing. Kind of par for the course, as it were. I can't tell you any of that.
I see. So so it seems like a lot of us are pirates. It's not surprising.
I can't tell you that a bunch of bards, by nature of what it is that they're doing, even by invoking bardic immunity, are extra legal and therefore, often outside the law, not above it, but just kind of operate outside of it.
That's kind of why the bardic immunity exists, right?
In part, I would assume, yeah. But that may explain why he wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, another pirate.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out a way to extend bardic immunity to the party, because I can't do my research without the party, right?
That's going to be tough. I don't really know the bylaws exactly. That again, I'm not a legal guy. I'm a magic man. So I don't really know the bylaws and those types of things.
I guess the next question would be, don't send it. So true. But with the next question, maybe we should.
I'm sorry. I think I might have had a spell up. You came in and out there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh. I was just saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Hold on. Boy, I moved it a millimeter. Very sensitive spell.
Maybe if you just put your finger closer to your and then maybe I don't know.
I was just saying the next thing would be to ask if there are ways to extend bardic immunity, because again, I couldn't do my research without you guys. I couldn't do it without my crew. I would die.
I wonder if we
and
can
my
make the
research would be
case.
lost.
Yeah.
So what's the point of the bardic immunity if it doesn't apply to maybe like I obviously
Again,
you're
really,
not
again,
employed by me, but like I'm talking
sorry.
I'm asking my crew now. This isn't really
Yeah.
Okay.
specifically to you. I'm asking for advice to my crew.
Okay.
But I'm
You
I'll
wouldn't
just
saying
wait
like
over here.
You wouldn't
Maybe-
be able to survive without the rest of us, literally.
Right.
Like it's like if you were contracted a ship to carry you places,
yeah.
right?
Like
Um.
let's say this isn't the way that it is, but let's say that you're employed by me. Wouldn't the bardic immunity, wouldn't that immunity extend to me in my operation? Because like, let's say we were doing pirate shit, right? And I was
Right.
like in charge, and I said, let's go do this pirate shit. and I had bardic immunity, wouldn't that make you immune to the pirate shit?
Kind of.
Olario Oleno
Right.
kind of like puts his elbow on the table and sighs like,
Is there
"You'll
a way
have to
like
set precedent."
they're not employed by me, but let's say they were.
That's what I'm saying. You'll have to set precedent. As far as I am aware, from the little research I've been able to currently do about the one agreement that many of the nations have about the Bardic University and the Bardic community is that it is pretty ironclad, but it very strictly only applies to the Bardic individuals themselves. That way, they can't be persecuted for doing their job. Now,
That's what's happening.
there is,
though.
but there is no, as far as I am aware, there is no precedent for including under this umbrella of immunity contractors and others that have been persuaded by you, whether that be charmed or otherwise. I will
Well,
say,
what's happened in in other cases in the past when somebody's been accused of doing nefarious shit and they've invoked bardic immunity? Has their entire crew gone down but them? Do they then have to go on and find another crew? Like, how does that work?
they run to the edge of the wall and they like through a bunch of books and pull out like a binder that's like tied with like twine and everything, and they pull it up and they flip to it. One moment. Right, yes, here. There is something here where they set a precedent about, a while ago there was some type of person that was controlling some minds. It was like some lich and undead stuff, and it was used to control the agency of others. And there was a ruling that because they were controlled and the agency of others was not their own, they were not responsible for their actions during that period of control. That could be useful if we can prove that your crew and that your and that your comrades here were under your influence, perhaps even better if it's under some kind of magical way, we could absolve them of any accountability. But
Yeah, I mean that would
is
be
that true?
perjury.
Yeah. No, it's
It's not true.
No, it's
not
not.
true.
Well, I mean, I can keep looking, but most likely there is no precedent for extending Bardic, as far as I'm aware, for extending, because Alario's done his research as much as he can, for extending Bardic immunity to others. And if I'm being entirely honest, it's quite a slippery slope, because if you do that, you could bring in a lot of information and a lot of other international law that's now at risk.
The other thing is, if you push really hard to be "quote unquote" immune to the law, does that make us look guilty?
Well, Bardic immunity doesn't make you immune to the law. It makes you somewhat immune to extradition. If the
In other
Bardic
words, if
University thinks you did bad, they
Does-
could just arbitrate you and they can come
Does
back. You fucked up.
eschewing bardic immunity altogether and being like, we don't even fucking need it, does that make us look like our case is
like
stronger?
a show of faith, that type of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's entirely up to our jury, really.
What's your
Good.
opinion?
Well, we're under a military jury, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this trial.
They're
the
pretty
next
loyal
trial.
to their officers.
Could fucking Boyardee guy, could he be like,
They're
oh, they're
big
trying
on-
to get immunity, they must be guilty, right? Could he do that?
Chef Boyer.
Would you
Oh,
do
you
that?
mean Bellario
Yeah,
Barato Bengano.
triple B.
They do rest on their laurels of their honor and sacrifice quite a bit. So perhaps it could be a tactic. It's a risky one, though. Putting us under, again, I think, as long as you don't set the precedent that Bardic immunity cannot be, if it were my advice, I wouldn't touch Bardic immunity at all in this case. And I would save that bullet in the chamber for the civil case. Because you probably have a better chance of having that set the precedent of some type of variance or acceptance or super legal type of extraneous circumstance in a civil case than you will in a military one. And if you set the precedent here, then that could actually work against us in certain types of things, because then you're saying that Bardic immunity supersedes sovereign military law, and that's, if you set that precedent, that means and I know I'm jumping the cases here, but that could possibly mean that nations could declare war on each other while it's also being legal.
Right.
Yeah, that could freak out a bunch of military people too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah. That could cause
Yeah.
international war. Like, I mean, that's the extreme case, but I mean, it kind of
Sure.
opens the doors for that such a thing.
But these military types tend to think in extreme ways, right?
Yeah. I mean, could
No
we,
comment. I'm not allowed to comment.
Is it possible that their countersue of us is not for just the duration of this trial? It could be for the entirety of the other trial too. Is that possible, or is it just during this time that we basically have to prove that we're not pirates?
If they can, it's my understanding if they can dissolve your claim on that there being a case here at all, and have something to prove. A trial doesn't always just talk about one thing here. Sorry, but there are other. Sometimes it's just what's more than one issue can be tried and in the same court case. So if you are all found to be outlaws and considered as outlaws, that's going to affect the jury a lot. Not only that, but they're military people, so you would become an automatic enemy combatant, and good luck.
All right. But I'm saying though is that's going to be determined before the other case starts, right? Or no?
Yes, it's my understanding that we were able to make sure that they were not happening simultaneously, yes. So yes, this is the first case, and that would be happened before. And if we set the precedent here, we just have to be aware of the fact it's going to happen on a civil trial. I think that ideally, it would be great to prove that the evidence proposing that you are outlaws and fugitives and traitors, especially because things were perpetrated on the grounds of the Northern Dynasty, if we can prove that unfounded here, they can't try you again in the civil case. So they won't have that ammo for character assassination in the civil case.
Okay.
But if we have to defer it and just try to use it as a speed bump and move past it for this case, we'll just have to deal with it again in the civil case.
Yeah.
But we'll have more time.
Let's just deal with it head on. I mean, we're not pirates, so let's just deal with it now. Get
Is
it out of the way.
that actually true? I mean, I can't tell you. It helps if I actually know what is the truth.
I don't think we are.
I don't think
mean-
we are.
No.
Okay. Have you ever
Whether
sunk a ship?
Whether that holds up in a court of law, I don't know about that. but
Okay.
I don't
Have you
think
ever
we're
assaulted
pirates.
a naval ship and taken their goods without a direct order from a nation while you've been serving under the capacity of that nation?
Uh-oh.
I mean, not under the capacity of another nation.
Oh, shit.
Right?
We are pirates.
No, we haven't done
No,
it under
not-
the capacity of another nation.
If you
No,
haven't,
that's
then you
true.
are pirates.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was to stop genocide. It was to stop the thing that we're
We
proving is
are-
bad, is that we're trying to, like, the
I
thing
don't
that we're...
Olario Leno III does not make judgments.
No,
I
this is
just
good.
want to know that you are indeed pirates. You did enact piracy. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I guess we
You
did.
know,
But,
but
like-
I
for
don't
the
care.
greater good.
For
But
great-
the
I've been a
thing that we're
pirate before.
prosecuting-
Everything
For
cool.
the thing that we're prosecuting, though, for the thing that we're suing for.
Every bard's been a pirate. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But I just have to know so we can take care of it.
Right,
so
but
I
here's
know
the
it's
thing,
coming.
though, is that we were pirates in order to stop the thing that we're prosecuting as being illegal.
Right.
I understand. And to put it in terms, it's like breaking out of jail to prove your innocence.
We were forced
still
to be
Oh,
pirates.
did break out of jail. You know.
Yeah, but if we
Yeah.
didn't, then they would have killed thousands of innocent people.
Their
They're-
actions caused us
I'm
to
telling
be-
you what they're going to say. The law is the law, and they're going to persecute you for the things that you did bad, regardless of what reason it was for.
But we have to prove that what they were doing was not military action, but instead an independent
If you can prove that
thing
what they were doing was super illegal,
undertaken by not the government, but by
but
the-
renegades,
by
yes.
renegades
And
like the Red Lines
and
we
rogues,
then we can prove
yes.
that we didn't in fact attack the government, but we attacked.
If
the
you can
rogues
prove
were
that-
infiltrating the government.
that's
Right.
correct. Because then it would just be we wouldn't be piracy against the nation. It would be. It's like kind of like squatters' rights for a place
we're
that is
here, we were here
uninhabited.
to save the dignity of the military and the.
Technically,
and the-
pirate against
Yeah.
pirate violence is legal. Go figure. So,
Yeah.
because
That could be
since
kind of-
since you were actually attacking the nation, this nation does not have casus belli to
Yeah.
to
Maybe
inhibit
we
you.
just
So
go head
if you
on.
can
Maybe
prove
we
that they
say,
are
yes,
rogue,
we did all that pirate shit, but not against the government, against the people who are infiltrating the government to get their own.
that
Because we'd
illegal
recognized
shit
it.
across.
exactly
Yeah.
that could
Yeah.
work. That would work. It's risky though, because as soon as you admit that you did the thing, your our only course of action is then going to be to prove that who you did the thing against was not representing a nation,
I feel like they
But that's
already
what we're-
brought
and we're
up
locked
the
into
evidence
that.
right
That's what we're
against
trying
us.
to do, though, right? Isn't that our goal?
I mean, you
We
tell
just
me.
want people brought to justice who need to be brought to justice. The government is claiming
We'll
to
try.
not have attacked Zoncourt head on, right? We're saying they were attacking Zoncourt head on. And so
Technically,
I'm,
during
maybe
his
it
open
wasn't the government,
statements,
but
they did say it was a military action in retaliation to terrorist actions.
the terrorist actions are a lot.
It was within.
We would have to prove that.
And so proving
you
that
have
the
to prove-
terrorist actions were lies could be saying that somebody was trying to trick the government to attacking.
We
And
have
the
to
government
prove-
attack
We have to
is,
prove
again
that they did not have casus belli for their military actions, and as such, we're acting super militarily and out of the scope of the nation's orders as far as peacekeeping and the Calder Initiative should be.
And as far as we're concerned, we saw people working. We saw Fruth Lavoud, who's not a military person, influencing the military, and so
Technically
in
a
that
military
sense, we
contractor.
saw- that's the pirate shit, right?
No, Fruit Lavoud was a military contractor.
But we know that Fruth
he
Lavoud
worked for
was under contract
Lions.
with somebody else.
Yes, but he was under contract as a military as were the rest of the Red Science Syndicate under contract of the nation here, of the Northern Dynasty, to be military contractors, and therefore were contracted to be part of under the orders of their their employers, which were the Northern Dynasty.
If we
And so
found
they were
document-
acting in military capacity.
If we found documentation of superseding orders, basically, or a contract from some other source,
If you can find proof of a conscious and uninfluenced dereliction of orders in order to espouse the reason for casus belli, then yes, we have a case.
Could you say that again, but like you're explaining it to a fifth grader?
Pretty much what they're saying is that if you can find proof that members of the military, whether they be contracted or not, just part of the members of the military, went out of the scope of their orders without invoking the retaliation clause of, the rules of engagement, and went rogue and did their own thing without provocation, they were attacked. They were acting super militarily and were not acting with the scope of their orders, and therefore have technically, as far as the rules are concerned, have gone rogue, and therefore are considered privateers, and therefore any action against them would not be considered an act of treason or a casus belli for war of attack of a pirate on a nation. But you gotta find proof.
you're saying casus belli.
Casus belli is the Latin term for cause for war. Reason to do so, reason to engage,
Okay.
or reason to argue. It can be used, but yeah, it's called a cause for war. It's pretty much saying, I declare war on you because of this casus belli. So, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But casus belli, maybe it is. But that's you catch that? Does that make sense?
I think so. So we basically just have to. There was no provocation.
There was
Yeah.
somebody else. Yeah.
You have to prove, however you can, that their acts were beyond the scopes of their orders, and they did something.
Right.
And whether that means they did something without being provoked, or a number of other ways. But you're gonna have to figure that out. How that's gonna work.
Yeah. I
And
still
then
don't understand why they.
what that would
like,
do is
what
that kind of
was the-
transitively not make them. They would make them rogue, and they would make them privateers, and then
I still don't understand
all the
what they're
countersuit would be
claiming was
invalid.
provocation.
They're claiming that they were. Remember when there was a Tananawi that tried to assassinate some people?
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't.
They're claiming that they're claiming that happened first, and you don't know when that happened. They're claiming that when the Cauldron Initiative's ship arrived at Zoncourt, they disembarked, and the captain was attempted to be killed by a Tananawi assassin, and then they went back into if I remember correctly, and then they went back into the bay and regrouped and then retaliated by barrage.
But the problem is that it's still racial, and it's still not targeted towards. It's not targeted towards the perpetrator. It's targeted towards.
So here, can I get to make, because I know we're throwing a lot about brown big words, and I know we're like it's getting really complicated. To break it down, imagine like a big military ship showing up into a town where they know they're not welcome, and flaunting the fact that if that town did anything, even throw a fucking pie or whatever, then that gives them reason to fucking arrest and murder people because they assaulted naval officers. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're waiting for them to fuck up just so they can be like, you're done. We level. Now we have an excuse to fucking fuck you up. And that's like, Oladio Leno is like kind of pointing this out to you, like that's probably what they did. But the problem is that it's entirely legal. Like they didn't actually do anything wrong, as far as we know. If you can prove that someone threw the first punch or something else like that, it comes down to that little tiny bit, kind of, and that might be difficult to find proof with that, or whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of other different ways to go about it, but.
Granted,
remember,
to have an anxiety attack, by the way.
Yeah,
he's starting to rock in the corner. Like, this is way bigger than I ever wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, and then
I just want to dig up bones, man.
And the thing is also, remember, Captain Imari Yukardi was under the Wormtongue influence of Froth Lavud by that time. So perhaps if Captain Imari wasn't under the influence, that's not something she would have done, like as so legally provocative.
Can we
to try to make them do the first move type of thing? Now you don't know if that's actually what they were doing because there's no way to know. But
can we look back and see when Fruth joined the ship? And if it was just before that incident, then we might not be able to find stuff. But if he joined the ship like a month before and they stopped somewhere else,
the records of when Froth Lavud were hired were not included in Discovery. That's something that is technically national security.
Right, but maybe
that might be something you might have to steal.
Right, but
Scheme.
I'm scheming right now.
Yeah,
I'm not
you
using
tell
a scheme
me,
token.
Tell me. Okay.
I'm just saying if we
scheming.
find some evidence that he joined the ship and there was some other weird action that was taken and we could interview or cross.
That would give you means. What you then need is motive and opportunity.
I know.
You need
Just
proof.
let me finish, please.
Yes. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Cross-exam Captain Mata and be like, would you have done this normally? Yes, no. If yes, then maybe we lose a little bit. But if she said no, I wouldn't have done this, and that's establishing a precedent that Fruth is a bad influence on her, could have been worm-tonguing the whole thing, which is enough reasonable doubt.
All of these, yes, that would establish reasonable doubt, which is the first step to proving undeniable evidence. So that would definitely help. If you can have proof of hey, this is when it started, and this is when Captain Imari started acting weird, and even Captain Imari says she started acting weird, that would then invoke that precedent of that, controlling people and them not being responsible and accountable for their actions while they're under the influence of spell work, and that would give you reasonable doubt. and then that would give you a case. You'd have a fucking case at that point.
Yeah.
And then the judge has to be like, well, we have to hear everything out now. Not that he hasn't already, but it's like now that actually gives you a base for case. And regardless of whether civilian or military, like that would help. That's not open and shut, of course. You'll need more than that to like be like, because what you're doing pretty much is now, because now you have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that shit didn't happen. You
Because
know
I
what I
remember
mean?
like when it all ended, when the smoke had cleared, Yamada was fucked up. She was like, "Oh my god, like what happened?"
Yeah.
She was like, why did I do that?" She was fucked up.
Yeah.
And who do you have that would be able to testify to that effect?
And it was like public. It was like it was on the ship. It was in front of fucking
Yeah.
everybody. She had a
So
fuck-
only
she
the
had a breakdown.
crew of the
The
Sutamaburo
Everybody
And-
saw that shit.
And us.
that you have been traveling with for who knows how long. All I'm saying is that this is good. This is good. You guys are on the right track. This is great.
We've barely been on the Sutamaburo.
That's true. But the survivors of cultural injustice have.
Yeah, but there's other crew members of the Sutamaburo who are not on trial here.
Yeah.
No, really. You mean like, well,
All right, the fucking
you're
the cook
it's
or some
complicated.
shit, you know, like come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm. You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're good. This is good. You're doing good stuff. This is, it's good. I'm just like you're adding pancakes on top of the stack. You just haven't reached the ceiling yet. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing the right stuff. You like if you want like open and shut and close. I'm like that's the thing. Like this is gonna help to sway the judges. I'm not saying you need to have an open and shut case. I'm just saying these are all good points. These are all really good
I
points.
say, well, the next step that we do is we interrogate a witness who's not on trial from the Sutamaburo, like the cook or somebody who would never have any kind of influence or military, you know, who would never like be a part of
like an
the decision
unbiased type
made.
of thing.
Yeah.
an unbiased
Provide.
situation, who witnessed Yamada like waking up. Essentially.
Ilario chimes in and says that, you know, I think you have probably stumbled onto something that might be really helpful, but I don't think in the way you think. Technically, the cook is still part of the military, and if you are putting people from the military on the stand in front of a military jury, you're going to get a lot of sympathy. And they'll be more apt to believe the people that are from the military and from the naval crew. This could work. You're going to get a lot of points here.
Right.
Yeah, if it was their crew, and if you can, like, I mean, not obviously don't influence them to say things, but if they all have like the same story and they're saying a certain type of thing, and they say, yeah, this is what happened, and they can say, yeah, no, the captain was acting really weird, and hell, if you can find out if they were considering mutiny or something because of how bad they thought. Well, maybe not that. I would be careful. That could be a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even
I
though
just
the
want them.
mutiny-
I just want a pure recount of what they saw, and I want them that what they saw was Yamada.
Fuck, this is cool. We
that
could put the
waking up
entire
moment.
crew on the stand.
Well, it doesn't have to be
Oh,
everybody,
shit.
but a few people maybe to just corroborate the fact that Yamada was under the influence.
It could work.
Yeah.
It will definitely help. I think it's worth a try.
I think
If we want to be super safe, we'll need actual proof. Do we have any actual like hard evidence?
That she was under the influence.
her
other than
diaries,
hearsay?
right? Weren't her diaries like crazy beforehand? Didn't
they
we
started
find
Do you have
to
access to
go
their diaries?
nuts. Yeah, we have her diaries. It just divulged into like racist shit. It went from like being totally normal military shit, slowly and surely becoming racist.
If we can somehow prove that the date in which it started to decline into whatever it was
Was the date that
near
Fruit
the
was
same date
put in
that Fruit came out,
charge.
that we
shit.
not only do we establish premise, then we establish motive and means. Well, we establish
Right.
means and opportunity.
Hell yeah! So we have
Right.
to. We really got to.
All we need is motive.
Yeah.
Why?
And we stole the thing that says that Fruth is here, got on the ship at this time.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to do a
Full-tone
scheme.
scale.
We'll have to do a
Full-tone
scheme.
scale.
Yeah. Ba, 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 ba. You'll have to do a scheme to get that because you don't have access to
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
Right.
But So then all we need is means, and then we have a solid case. I'm sorry, not means. You'll need motive. Why? Why would they do this? Why would
Well,
Fruth
is there ever a motive? For
charm her to?
genocide?
I understand your philosophical understanding, but
if
this
his
is
contract was with somebody else before the contract with the government, with the Red Lion Syndicate and the government.
But who? That would help our case immensely if we could have that information. Why? Why would they go for the efforts of charming this person? Why would they go for the efforts of doing, assaulting the survivors of cultural injustice? Why would they try to instigate genocide? Why would they why would they go through all the pains of making it legal to commit assault and genocide? For what? That's a lot of work.
It could be a thread we aren't ready to unravel with maybe some.
The jury's gonna want a reason.
It might be the very upper echelon of the government.
I mean, there's the obvious one, which is kind of broad stroke, and but I don't know how deep this goes, but it could be, we could just say because they've been at war for so long and they have a grudge. We could say that. It's weak, but it's something.
It's something that, yeah. At least 2 out of the 3, there's enough reasonable doubt that could, I don't know.
The only problem with that is that then
Isn't just pure racism? Isn't that enough of a motive?
It is a war
Can we
crime.
claim that racism is a motive?
That could work, but of who specifically? Are we blaming the whole Donor Dynasty for racism?
Hell yeah.
Blaming.
We could.
Yeah,
Isn't that what we're here to prove?
right. That they won't let them go back to their ancestral lands, even though the.
Or are we going after
Something.
specific people in power? Because
I don't know.
if I was on the other side, if I was suing the entire country, the entire dynasty to be of racism, the first thing the defense is going to do is going to bring in a bunch of people that love a bunch of other races as testimony.
Then maybe we go directly to.
I have black friends.
Exactly.
That's what they're gonna say.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we do target the military then.
We can try. I mean, what difference you want to do? This is more than enough to go in for the next area before we, I think, but we might have to come with it on the fly. I don't
think-
know.
Yeah.
Maybe our next priority is just to say that Yamada was to try to prove that Yamada was not working under her own influence.
Yeah.
That could work.
One.
I would need, if you can. I didn't hear anything. La la la. I didn't tell you that if we could have access to documents that would prove when Fruit Lavud was hired, and we could cross-examine those with the Captain Amada Yuzukari's journal would be helpful. I didn't tell you any of that. I didn't tell you that the person who probably has that, or the place that probably has that, is an official who is in charge of giving these types of orders. I wouldn't recommend finding it. Any other questions?
I think as long as we still have access to the Koenig Magus, I think it might be a good idea to maybe think about one of our other tactics too. With
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to be doing earmuffs this whole time? I'm talking about treason. It's kind of exciting.
I mean, just don't repeat what you said. What we said.
Not allowed.
Right? No.
You're
Scout's
not allowed
honor.
to, right?
Yeah.
The other thing
I mean,
would
I
be
can do whatever
to,
the fuck I want on magic, but yeah, sure, I won't.
to present Yamada with her diary. I mean, like, you wrote this shit. Do you stand by this racist shit? Like, is this what you... Are you down with it?
If we put her on the stand, it's risky,
She
but it could.
Well, we're
it
gonna
could
have
be,
to
it could
eventually.
work.
she had.
Just so you know, that's going to leave her open to cross-examination from Balato Vergato Gancano.
We are pretty
Are they
sure
not
she
gonna
and
encounter-
Atananawi were in a romantic relationship before, and so the fact that
Who was
It's also not...
who was in a relationship with Captain Imadu Yukari?
her name.
How about showing...
Her real name
I
is
know who you're
Reina.
talking about. What about showing her...
Was
what
she
about
one of the
showing
crew?
Them the
Yeah,
diary.
she was the first mate, I think.
Yes.
She was the
What
first
about
mate.
showing
Zori-
them the log in the
no.
diary
Zori
that
Laffy.
devolves
Yeah, Zori
into
Laffy.
racist shit?
And if she was in a
That's a
relationship,
problem.
if she was in a relationship with her,
No, that's bad for us.
Yeah.
but
That's fraternization. That could cost her all character that she has and her position.
well, at least we brought it up
Oh.
now.
No, that's a problem. That's a complication.
Well, they're not going to want that to
If
come out
Berardo's
either,
worth their
right?
salt, and if they, nobody knows about that,
It
if we
seems-
put
I
her on
don't
the
know who
stand,
knows
we
about
risk
that.
them being cross-examined for fraternization.
I don't know who knows about that.
well,
I
We
would
know
say
she's
risk.
also
Was it obvious?
Zori was also
You rolled really
part-
good insight checks when they were staring at each other, like almost about to hurt each other and crying.
Okay. So it wasn't like a public thing. They were being
Yeah,
okay.
It was one of those things where like the crew won't ever say that they know, but they
Okay.
know, like and they will never testify that they know because they also know what that means.
but
And
Zori was also a member of the military, so
but she was her subordinate, and therefore, because the other one is her superior, that is a big problem of fantasization. Because then, I mean, for obvious
mean,
reasons.
She did command fire the cannons at the island with Zarilafi on the island at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they fired what at what?
they fired cannons
Yeah, you're right.
at Saivesh the same time that Zori was still on the island with
You
us.
mean on Island or
Not the-
Zonkur?
on Zonkur, sorry.
So they were in a relationship. And then during the time that Captain Matti Paalanen, you claim to be under the influence of some sort of charming magic, she gave the order to fire upon the person that she was in a relationship with?
Yes,
Yeah. Sounds pretty unhinged to me.
right.
Fuck.
Forgot about
There are
that.
so many layers here.
Good call.
That's really risky. Okay. So plan of attack could be we put her on the stand. We do all the stuff we said we were going to do. Most definitely, if they're worth their salt and they're good at getting as many, their character assassinations is what they do, they'll probably know that the fraternization took place and they'll cross-examine with fraternization. If we then counter that with the fact, okay, fine, sure. But would someone who's in a relationship with somebody and love someone other than a lover's quarrel, would they have fired cannons on somebody they were in a relationship with? We could.
And if they were in a relationship
could
with each
work.
other, would somebody in their right mind do that, or would
That's-
somebody who's
Exactly.
not in their right mind? Yeah.
That's the thing.
We will succeed that Captain Matti Paalanen will lose her position.
Yeah,
For
we knew-
sure.
Well, she should, regardless.
And she might also then, she'll have to testify knowing that she's going to be imprisoned after the court case.
She was willing to die the day that she found out she was mind controlled and
Yeah,
committed
she was
these
about to kill
atrocities.
herself.
Yeah,
That decision
And again,
is
if we
entirely-
can prove that she saw the atrocities she was gonna do, and then was about to kill
I don't
herself,
think
I mean, like,
any of us should speak for her. I think it should be entirely up to her what it is she wants to do,
would
unless your goal is to also put her in prison.
not necessarily, but
we know that there might need to be somebody that's
But if
False.
we do this tactic, she will get imprisoned in a Northern Dynasty prison.
well, we're fucking.
And does she
pirates,
deserve
right? We'll
that?
break
I
her
mean,
out.
well, again,
if she
Justice
was
is
under
blind.
the influence though, it's a plea for insanity basically, right? Like
yeah,
it's not the same.
it doesn't mean that she can't be tried for fraternization
isn't our
with a
case that she
subordinate.
wasn't acting on her own accord?
Yes, that very well be, but she can still be charged with fraternizing with a subordinate, and then be court-martialed. It's like
But we're
getting
saying,
it's like getting a mob member on tax
evasion.
evasion.
But we're only going to bring that.
If
up
we
if
do
they-
that, I mean, it's
and again, our
there's a
case, the
really
fact
good
that she
chance they will.
fired, the fact that she fired in that town while her lover was there is a
Right.
case that she wasn't fraternizing, right?
Another thing, just food for thought.
if we want to go certain tactics, if we omit certain things, then look, the way if the if we're gonna go this way, the chances of Captain Yamada getting out of this even close to clean are next to nothing. I'm sorry. What did you want to say?
Would it be helpful I mean, I kind of need to do it anyway because I just found out that I don't have my freaking license, which is stupid. If maybe I went during this time,
You don't have
Took
your
the board.
license?
took the board exam basically here, prove that I
yes.
am a doctor, and then basically also be like,
To give her a sanity plea.
send
You could, yes.
because if as long
Yeah,
as
we can set that up. You won't be able to be in court though for the next one
I know I won't be able to be in court for this one, but or until we call it
until
recess,
you recess. Yeah,
right? But
Um,
at least it's some, or maybe I can submit the document at least after.
I can send some missives. I might be able to do something like that.
All right. The other thing is I want to fix your armor scoop. I mean, and I
Oh.
don't want to be because it's missing.
Ooh, yes, right.
So
I-
that's number one priority.
It's going
for
to be
me.
rushed. It's
Forgot
not
about
going to be
that.
from a reputable institution, just so you know.
I mean, I can't go and take a board exam. Like
I know a Sawbones in town. And that's about
Sawbones?
a Sawbones.
Oh boy.
Yes, it is a triage specialist.
I mean,
But they do have their license. So they do have the permission to give others their license.
that's.
But if they find out that we bribed them, then that might be an issue.
I don't want to bribe them. I just want to go. If
Okay,
isn't
good
there a
luck
way
dealing
for-
with it then. But you said you don't have your license, right?
Only because it's now not recognized. It's dissipated. you know.
If we can prove, this might be perjury or not, I don't know. But if we can somehow make a basis that Captain Amada Yukari was never actually the captain of that ship and didn't have, like saying somebody was never actually married because it wasn't legal, or if we can find some sort of loophole that doesn't actually make her part of the Navy or part of the captain, then all of that is null and void. And a bunch of other statutes of maritime law of someone of the crew being able to assume someone as captain, but also not under the laws because they're technically ambassadorial and they have diplomatic immunity, certain other laws, because they're only acting in maritime time. She could come out clean,
Right.
but she would never be a captain again. But she wouldn't go to jail. But we have
I
to
would think
find out
after
if
this incident she wouldn't want to be captain again, but I mean that's assuming, I guess.
I mean, she could be a privateer, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
If you can somehow make her like assignment as captain of the Sutomabura null, if that means forging documents or finding something that we don't know, that would also work.
The other thing is that I'm thinking too is that she was in a relationship with her subordinate in her own right mind.
That is an
Which is
illegal
not
infraction.
great.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if that's what she if that's what she goes down for, I feel like that's fair. Right?
But if the inception of this interrelationship predates the time that she was no longer that she was not in the right mind, we're screwed.
I don't think you can prove when a relationship
Or
starts.
she's screwed. Not necessarily us, but she's screwed.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
Unless we can prove that unless we can somehow find some sort of loophole or manufacture, didn't say that, some sort of loophole to make the precedent of her being actual legal captain and naval officer of it null and void.
What is
It's the only way I can think of that she's going to come out of this clean, and we're going to get
What is
we
the
want.
law regarding like subordinate fraternization? Like how long would she be in jail for? Like what's the severity of the punishment?
right.
Court martials do not prescribe to the same type of law as civilian law, so technically they could keep her as long as they want. There's no actual limit. I mean, the going rate is like 10 to 50 years. And
Wow.
for a halfling,
That
that
seems
is,
severe.
Right.
it's because of other precedents, as I was reading up on law, of how superiors have convinced their subordinates during those types of relationships to do terrible things or influenced bad decisions,
Yeah.
and many people have died.
Yeah,
So it's
that's why
supposed to
not
be more
great,
of a
and why I
deterrent
think
than
that
it
if
is.
that's what she goes down for, I think that's kind of fair. I think it's I personally think it's not great to be in a relationship with a subordinate in a role like that.
Look, it doesn't matter to me, but I think the only question you probably have to ask yourself is that do they actually love each other and do they actually care for each other? And do you want them to both suffer for it?
I mean, they probably.
But that just has to do with your unconscious conscience. But I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
Okay.
I think this is a good plan. It probably is worth talking to her, because if she ever, look, if Captain Yumada is our fucking lifeline and our trump card out of this, she's got to be on our side.
Yeah, I think it might be worth.
That's
a
what I
frank
think. I think would be.
conversation.
I think we get her on our side. We say we're not going to bring up anything about your relationship.
And then lie.
We have to
want
prove
to
that
lie.
you were not in your right mind, which she was not. Right? I mean, like all signs point to that, and I think that she would agree with that. I think that we
She's-
can get her off clean and come off clean, proving that what she was doing was not.
So
She
as a
still found it
professional,
on her own crew.
that's true. But again, as a professional barrister, I would be absolutely stunned if Bellario Barata Begano was not able to find out the information of fraternization and would not bring it up. That's literally his specialty. I would be
Can we
very surprised at that.
Well,
And
but we
then
can deny that by saying that she fired on the town. Well, she knowingly knew that her lover was that her quote.
by
unquote
doing that,
lover
we
was that.
admit that that is a thing, unless we're trying to spin
No,
it like
we
they're
admit
not.
that it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So we can use that chip, but to get her on our side. I mean, like we have proof to say that you weren't fraternizing.
Okay, that will work. That could. I mean, it could. It could work legally. It could.
And then if we don't get her on our side, then we use that against her,
Yeah,
right?
do we just need to ask her
That could
what-
work. What I will say is that if this goes according to plan, I doubt either of them will be able to see each other ever again if they actually do love each other.
Well, that's why she was going to kill herself, right?
But that's not a legal thing, you know.
Yeah.
She's already come to terms with the fact that they're not going to see each other again.
I mean, are they not together right now?
I think they are, but would it be so wrong to just to have a frank conversation with Hamada?
No. Because again, I'm not trying to like be sneaky here. I think these are all the facts that we're talking about, and I think that
I
Yamada
do.
would be on our side with the facts too.
Yeah.
I just think that if we're going to put all these eggs in her basket, we have to make sure that she's going to play along.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably already happened, just so you know. I have read up on Bellado Verario Bencano, and it's probably already happened, but she's probably already been approached by someone at his behest to not be cool with us and be have some, I don't know what leverage they may have, but if we're figuring this out, so is he. Maybe not as much
Yeah.
as we figured it
Right.
out, but he's probably trying to find some leverage, and she's probably been approached already.
What if we start before we approach her? We start to prove her insanity by interrogating one of the crew. And
think
like
that
getting
could work.
the witness to say that she was not in her right mind, and that when she realized she had a breakdown.
I think
Yeah.
if we can use Bellario's basis for swaying the jury against them, as far as he does character assassinations, if we can do character development and have a lot of character witnesses, especially those of the military, that could go miles. If we can get a bunch of the crew members to say, yeah, she changed at this point. Do you remember what time? Yeah, at this point. And we don't prompt them and we don't
Yeah.
lead any witnesses. We build a very strong case at that point. But what we need fucking proof.
We
need
start
national
we start
security
building the
protected proof.
case. We start building the case for Yamada being insane in court, so that she starts to see that that's the right way to go. That like the court is leaning towards the fact that she's insane, and then we can kind of get her that way. Right?
Ooh, it's risky. But again, you know her better than I do.
Don't
But
really know
it
that
could
well,
work.
but-
I mean, it's a high risk, high reward scenario, but you've done a pretty good job, and I unless you have a better idea, I say we go with it.
I think that works for this case, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's this case. Another thing for the other case.
I say we take one case at a time, but if you have an idea, please.
I just want to be able to use the Koning Magus's prowess right now, possibly. If
Hi.
we may want to ally ourselves with other nations that have recognized.
Oh.
yeah.
Okay, just slight problem. I'm not allowed to engage in knowingful conspiracy of like other nations against other nations.
Okay.
Like I'm not allowed to like pretty much start conspiracy for war. Does that make sense?
It's not a conspiracy for war. It's
Yeah,
just settling an
you
international
know,
law precedent. That's all.
They can be approached as an individual, but not as their official title. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay.
Who do you want to talk to?
I've heard Lady Rhea might be, and again, just Rhea might be.
I'm sorry, Lady Rhea,
Possibly.
the lady of the protectorate of Strida, who is
Yeah.
technically has sovereignty over half of the continent. You know Lady Rhea?
I haven't met her, but I've heard of her and kind of some of the things that have been happening a little bit. But
I just need to know because if I just want to make sure that I'm safe by sending somebody so powerful a message from me because I'm the one saying it, not you.
that's fair.
Okay.
We can. I mean, we can maybe think on it a little bit more. If
I will not be thinking on it at all. This
no,
is
not
entirely
you.
up to you.
I'm talking to my crew here.
Okay.
The other part, I would really.
I mean, I know her personally.
She's nice.
She's only a couple years older than me.
Oh, okay.
She was kind.
Okay.
But I mean, I was also there when she lost her family, so it's not great.
Oh.
I don't think she knows of me. I think she's seen me in person maybe once or twice. I used to work there. I used to work in the Athenaeum.
Oh. Okay.
But I have sway with her, but I'm not allowed to use that.
Gotcha.
I just it's more of just like when I say my safety, I mean I don't know what it is you're going to say to her, and she's a different person than she used to be because of how many responsibilities she has now.
Gotcha. I mean, again, maybe we can think on that part a little bit more, guys. But there is one message that I don't think would be breaching anything.
I'll do whatever you want.
I know.
I probably shouldn't have said anything. Just forget I said anything.
No, I don't want you to get in trouble.
I mean, again, magic. Poof. I'll just fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm good at running.
I think one thing, though, that is not a conspiracy or anything, is I would love for, if you could, at least just tell my sister that the Imogen College has been dissolved.
Your sister?
Yeah, my twin.
Your twin?
She
Okay, well, that helps.
She looks like me, except you know how the colors are this way.
And
it's
her name?
reversed. Exact same.
No, her name.
Oh, Trishani Ankmut.
Yeah, I can do that. Oof. Okay. What is it you want me to say?
The Imogen College has fallen to zealots. Get to Bebas soon if you can. On trial, getting justice for genocide, but countersued for piracy and treason. It's just a
Okay.
news bulletin. That's it. But
You said
I know.
Oof.
Yeah, but I know that I remember when I was talking to her, she might be able to get to Bebas.
So, if I'm doing my math correctly, and if I'm thinking about this in a chronological manner, she would receive that message about the time that the
Probably a couple days before where they.
I think during her downtime in Fort Yeda,
I
because
think
they arrived and you had
Yeah.
because that's when the stuff with Zemdak happened.
Yep.
And on the 8th is when the stuff with Zemdak happened.
Yeah.
And so during your downtime in Fort Yeda is when you would probably receive
I
this
don't-
message.
So yeah, and I don't think it would have impacted the course of action.
She's already on her way there.
It's just tying the story together a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it makes beautiful sense. What do you think that Trisheni would say in response? Because they're probably on nocturnal time now, so it's either like when she's about to go to bed or when she's waking up or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably when she's about to go to bed.
That's crazy, but that means that it's in much more disarray than we thought. Oh no. And just something like that, like
Yeah.
trailing off.
I'm on
is-
my way type
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, sure. Cool. And then, like, a couple days later, you guys fuse your minds and shit because that shit
Well,
happens
fusion
anyway.
of the minds happened before that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's happened a bunch of times.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but-
sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
like,
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, just thought that.
no, it's good. It's all good. Okay. So, are there any schemes you want to use beforehand? Or are we going to go into it and use schemes when it comes up because that could be dramatic?
Well, the thing is, like, we can't claim to have the evidence before we have the evidence, right?
Yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
we
we
need
could
to
Quentin
scheme.
Tarantino
Try
it,
to-
but
I think we should try to scheme and steal the evidence that Ruth was there time that her diary started to divulge.
sure. If I remember correctly from my rules of how this works, I just want to make sure I have up the right. Oh, my document is gone. Hold on. I lose my mouse way too fucking often. Okay, here we go.
So, like, this-
Keep tokens we use a flashback to use to gain evidence in field research. Out of court actions are the same except they occur in real time and adjust the appropriate aspect modifier instead. Out of court actions can only be taken by characters that are not in court and can rejoin the court after a recess. Scheme tokens can be used to initiate a flashback or an out of court action. This may be research, searching for evidence, coercing an applicable individual, or gathering witnesses, etc. You only have a long rest worth of do. You have 3 rests that can be used as short rests, which may replenish the use of do.
And it's the 3 recesses for the entirety of 2 trials. So
That's correct. So
Not per trial.
flashbacks can be used to gain evidence. Otherwise, active roleplay vignette. A successful flashback adds a d6 to the party's witness argument contest. A critical success adds 2d6. Out-of-court actions are the same, except they occur in real time and adjust the appropriate aspect modifier instead. So your choice here to do with this type of scheme is that are you doing an out-of-court action, or are you doing a flashback? Out-of-court action requires the person who's doing this thing to not be present in court during the time that this is happening. And a flashback could allow people to be in court because it's something that you did before. You know what I mean? Like, we almost always fast forward to the court case and then we deal with what's going on. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So, if you're looking for said national security evidence, are you removing somebody from the proceedings? Or do you want everybody there so all the abilities are available and doing a flashback? The
Maybe.
out of court adjusts the aspect modifier of how I talked about how it was going to work before, like tampering, crooked, opening argument evidence, closing arguments, recess, those types of things. Because each aspect is. Oh, hold on. Now I have to refresh myself. It's been a little bit.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
just thinking out loud, maybe, again, I go get my certification from the Sawbones. I stay out of this part of the court, and then I can be used as a actual witness later on for, my medical degree. And I don't know, Nakano, if do you want to hang out with me and do some sneaky, super stealthy stuff? I don't know, just thinking.
Well,
Or-
I'm all about sneaky.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, we could just say that, I need to make sure us girls got to stick together, we just got to make sure. That's why you're out of court. All right. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds good
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
Maybe while
That's
you
good,
guys
though.
are doing that, we can, I can examine one of the witnesses to show that Yamada was not in her right mind.
Yeah, I think that would be good. At least one, maybe a couple.
So
I know
you're
that we won't
gonna
be
have-
able to join you guys back until we recess again, but I know that I'm no good in that court anymore either. I can't cast any spells because that judge is like honed in on me. I was a little
So
outrageous, but-
the out of court stuff has a chance of decreasing the DC that you need to win the argument,
yeah.
whereas the flashbacks has a chance of adding D6s to so you can roll higher to try to beat the DC. Does that make
You
sense?
need some
Yeah.
of those D6s.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you
'cause
have none
otherwise
right
we-
now.
We have none. And we
I
already
think.
lowered the DC. So
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got the judge a little less biased.
Yeah. We do need that. So I don't know. Up to you, Nakano. I'm sure I can hang out with one of Baikam's people or something too. But I think my utility in court might not be that great right now.
And
Personally.
it's recesses work kind of like timeouts. They don't get used until you call one, and then you've used it, unless you're forced to use one because somebody dropped. You know what I mean?
I hope I wouldn't die doing a normal
So-
exam. But
Who's going in and who's staying out?
Guess me
You're
and
going in.
Cameron are going in.
I guess, yeah. Scooping up.
Okay.
Give it a boost.
2 people in, 3 people out.
well,
2 people
Three.
out.
Three.
There's 5 of you.
Hurt, right?
I thought
Is that
Hurt
who
was
you're
still.
counting?
What?
No, Hurt's not part of this.
Who are you
Hurt-
counting as
who's
the
the
fifth
fifth
person?
person?
Jerry?
Are you the DM counting yourself?
I think you might. Be.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of you. I'm Alario Bengano. You forgot about me.
1, 2, 3, 4,
I'm part of this too. I'm your
know.
barrister.
Well, you would be in court, I would think, right?
I guess that makes sense.
Yes, I'll be in court, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I could not be in court. Do you not want to be? I mean, I'm not good as the other.
No, I would
told
love
you
for
I
to
can't.
be there.
Okay, I'll
Please.
be there
Please.
for you.
Please be there.
Hmm.
Please. We need somebody who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I can't promise that, but I'll do my best.
Nakano, do you want to
I got the worst fucking attorneys.
do you
It's
want
just a
to
reference to
It's my first case. We'll figure it out.
Nakano, do you want to come stay out with me and lower the DC, or do you want to stay there and maybe have a flashback of a cool super secret stealthy mission?
I'll hang with you.
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So, you guys enter the court. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun,
That's probably all we
dun,
can get away
dun.
with. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
sorry. My name is Hurtthorn. I'm gonna stab you real bad.
Stop.
Oh wow.
I retract my
Great. So you guys enter Nakano, and Masheni nowhere to be seen. And we're gonna do your scheme of your out of court action when we get back from the break. All right. Stay safe out there. We'll be back momentarily. All right, and we're back. So we're going right into court, but Trisheni,
You said the wrong name.
you didn't make the deal.
Oh.
$100.
Where is it? Where is it?
$100.
You did not make.
Ah.
You did not
Yeah.
make the deal. So, absolutely not.
All right. Well, I'm making
No.
the deal now. If you call me by my sister's name today, that's it.
Fine.
All right.
What was going on?
Okay. So, Trisheni.
Ah, there we go. Yes. Yes.
Bruh.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yay.
Um.
I'm so furious with myself.
I'm tickled pink.
I'm so
really-
furious. I am so fucking furious.
That was very funny.
All right.
Oh, I miss you guys so much. Okay. Misheni and Nakano. Why did everything get brighter? I'm dying. Oh,
It's because now we're under the light of the law or something. I don't know.
what? What? Rio's just looking. Now Rio's looking at me. This other dog we're watching, like he's just looking at me like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, he's staring hardcore.
He's
at me.
staring real hardcore at me.
Just ignore him.
He's
He'll be
threatening
okay.
me. No, he's good. All right, so Misheni and Nakano will not be in court until a recess, unless either of them drop. Now, as we talked about before, out of court actions happen in real time, so we're going to be going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It does not mean that you cannot use flashbacks in order to do stuff, but flashbacks occurred during your downtime before court. Does that make sense? Not during the court case. Does that make everybody get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It doesn't mean that you couldn't have. Now, I want to be like wibbly wobbly with the timey. Like, I don't care. It doesn't mean that you couldn't have like used a flashback to do a certain type of thing. But as we talked about, like things you can get from a flashback are the gain evidence, info, research, or otherwise. Like, even if you find out information that you're like, huh, I wonder if I could use a flashback for that. You could. And then you could have just been like, hey, we're talking about that thing. Guess what I have? That's fine. I don't really care too much about that. If I think it's really a problem where like there's no way you would have any idea at all, or like if it's a really big broken problem for you to have used a flashback on that, I'll let you know, but I doubt it's gonna occur. Okay. So we're gonna start with the court. Mr. Grounder, Mr. Crinkle,
I always forget that's your last name.
and yeah, it's a Scoop Crinkle. Sean's so happy. Did you guys not know that?
No, we did. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
it doesn't
It's
come up
funny.
often. Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's funny.
And Mr. Orleno. The boys are back in town in court as you approach, and you see Valario Barato Bengano fixing his belt. You remember, high elf dude, slicked back ears and hair, pot belly, tall, lanky, very strange.
Bolo tie, right?
Bolo tie. Kind of like long face. All rise for the honorable judge. And as the judge comes out, again blind, sits down, you are able to continue. As we had talked about last time, remember what happened last time? So you pick up from you establishing that that Tamron was going to waive his immunity, and Masheni learning about how she is no longer licensed to practice medicine. Tammy's here, Masheni is not. Eventually everybody sits down, everybody's settled. Judge is like, prosecution, if you would like to call your first witness or otherwise.
I'd like to call our first witness the cook on the Sutamabura.
Okay, you said the cook on the Sutomabura.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Very well. Do you know their name?
No.
You don't remember their name?
Oh, I would have learned it. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
does it-
come on.
Yeah.
But does anybody actually remember who
I
took
don't
good
think.
notes?
I don't.
We didn't
think
know.
Okay.
We never knew that, did we?
I don't. I don't remember
no
us
way we-
talking to the cook specifically on. We had our own cook that we knew her name,
Mm-hmm.
but that wasn't the same cook.
There's no way we ever learned the name of the cook on the Sutomabura.
I mean, we would have like in passing, but not spent game time on it probably. You checking your notes, TJ.
I am checking my notes. Sorry.
That control find is really helpful.
I know.
Isn't
Control F is got to be like a godsend of this whole fucking thing.
That's funny.
It doesn't look like I have it either, or I
Can I
have it
make
in
up a
another
name?
document.
There is
You want to
no
make up
name.
a name? Yeah, you're the one calling the witness.
Okay.
it? Oh, come on, do it.
Oh, shit, I've never done this before. Now I'm scared. Um. Umami.
Oh no.
No, I immediately regret this decision.
You called them a flavor profile. What do you want from
I
me?
give up. No, don't make
No,
me do
no,
this.
This is
Why
no.
have
You
I
have
done
to
this?
now. Too bad.
right.
You have to do it now.
Cookie.
What'd you say? Cookie?
Cookie.
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 Just cookie.
You're gonna
Come on,
call the
man.
cook Cookie.
They,
All right.
That's his
It's all right.
nickname.
We all have
That's
to
his
start
nickname.
somewhere.
I don't know. That's all. That's what he introduced himself as.
Okay. All right. So what do you say? Like, do you call any witnesses?
Yes, the chef of the Sutomaburo, known as Cookie. If you figure me, I don't know their actual name. I've
Please
only
call
been
Cookie to the
introduced them as
stand. Cookie. Okay. Cookie. Sorry, didn't. Right. Blind. There is a kind of a what looks like a mixture of like a dwarf half orc, kind of like a dwarf half orc that comes up onto the stand. Just kind of dwarf with the just like some big incisors and like tusks and stuff. Just little guys, and they kind of have a bit of like a more orange complexion to them. And but some of you better be writing this down because I don't have time to write this down, and I need this information now. Watch and learn, Sean. This is how you improv.
Yeah, it's hard.
They come up. They still have like the chef's hat that's kind of flopped in. It looks like a collapsed upside down cake, like the ones that go that fall in if you make too much noise or if you and they get on the stand, they go like, oh, and they grab the hat and they realize like, oh, it's probably rude to wear a hat. They do have stains. They're still wearing their apron. They have stains on their apron. It looks like pea soup, guacamole, spinach,
pea soup, not pea soup, right?
PA
I
soup.
I know. It's
Head
just
out of
your
the gutter.
Your
Um,
pauses.
Piss soup.
Pea soup.
Piss, comma soup. And everybody sits and stands there in awkward silence for a bit before the judge says, "Your witness."
Cookie, were you employed on the Sutomaburo at the time of the attack on Zonkor?
Well, I don't know if I'm employed, but I am a naval officer and the culinary expertise of being there. Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, it's not a form of necessary employment. It's a service. It's an honor to be called to do the thing that is service to your nation. I guess we do receive a stipend, but it's not quite an employment.
What?
Can I just ask before we go on? Are you of sound mind right now, or are you maybe a little bit inebriated?
I'm not inebriated. It's just the way I talk, and I
Okay,
don't understand it.
That's fine
I,
then.
I mean, I
We'll
was
move on.
dropped several times when I was a child, but I mean, everything is just fine. I turned out just fine.
Okay, just as long as this is your base.
This is my state zero, sir.
Yes. Very good.
I
Very
did-
good.
You did let me know
So
that
you were
I'd be on
stationed on the
witness.
Sudamoboro during the
Oh,
time
yeah.
of the attacks on Zonkor.
Mm. Yes, it was a chilly night.
Yes. And gray, a bleak night.
Yes, I suppose.
When
I
the-
did.
When the events of that evening were concluded, were you on the deck of the Sudamoboro to witness the transition of power on the Sudamoboro?
I did hear quite a ruckusing up above on the poop deck. I was trying to get the cilantro calibrations correctly, but then as I did find my way up to the deck when there were a huffing and a puffing and a banging and a squeezing. And what I did see is a rather sorry sight of our good Captain Mario Cara being there. Doesn't look like she was didn't have good breeches upon her legs. And didn't look like everything was a little too tight. I did not witness the part of the attack itself, or the bombardment, as those call it. It was not part of my purview, but I know this crew like the back of my hand, if that's what you're asking. I did see some, Cookie lived for the drama.
Sure. In the events leading up to, cool. In the events leading up to, the attack on Zonkor, did you notice Captain Yamada acting in a way that was unlike the way that she usually acts, or did you notice a
she had-
shift in her behavior?
Oh, she had what you call a crab claw up the navel. Didn't seem rather cranky. Did seem cranky, like a salt water in a pitcher, that type of way. Didn't really.
A translator.
Like usually, I mean, she's a tough cookie, and Cookie would know. Cookie knows cookies, but I would say she. Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
I'm really trying to stay in character. Cookie would know. Cookie knows cookies, but
Cookie knows cookie. Title of the episode.
Yep, I think so. Cookies.
Baked
but
quick.
if you know, like she's one of those cookers where you make sure you boil it a little bit, and it's a hard, crusty exterior, nice crunchy, and a little bit of chocolate's gonna be a little burnt on the outside, but inside it's still a little uncooked, nice and gooey, and they're all soft, and it's good, nice, like wearing a blanket on your tongue. So I know that's her personality. She's a lover. She's got room to love inside that little crusty exterior. I know that, and I saw that room get smaller and smaller in that
That's
time.
what I'm wondering. Did the crusty nature become more prominent in the events in the weeks leading up to the attack? Did she
Woo!
become
I have to say,
a crustier, more burnt, gnarly cookie.
burnt as a baked cookie on a sunset drive in the middle of asphalt on the summer alky. Well, I'll tell you
And
right
would you
now.
consider that to be out of character?
I would say so. Yes, I would say. Well, I don't know. I don't know her actual life, but Cookie do hear the drama, like I said, and Cookie do know. Cookie did hear of people are saying that. Well, I mean, they're. And he's like really looking at the rest of the crew that's like sitting in the benches here. A Scoop, you're still here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, your passive perception is like you kind of see like these like faces that are like from the crew of like some are avoiding eye contact, some are like go ahead and roll an insight check because your passive perception is so fucking high. Go ahead and roll an insight check at advantage.
You said insight or what was it?
Insight. This one's insight. Yeah.
19.
19. You get like the sense from this that there's a kind of a collective of like, oh shit, is he gonna say it? Like, oh shit, like, is this really happening? Like, we're gonna talk about this right now? Like, oh shit, like, they seem like kind of like bated breath, like kind of like a thing that they all know but they don't usually talk about. And
How
he's
how
on the
often
stand.
was Fruth Lagoon next to Yamada, Captain Yamada? How often?
Are you asking
Like-
me?
No.
Oh well, because Tamron is the one that's
Oh.
questioning the witness right
but
now.
but he could.
Oh,
But
but-
Asku could whisper.
Yeah,
it to
if you
Tamron.
wanna,
You
if you wanna,
whisper
like,
to me,
I mean,
right?
you could step in. You can always step in. He's in the middle of answering a question, like
It was more
uh,
just like a rude kind of like.
you could, yeah, you could. But if you want to, if you want to
Doesn't
be
know
like,
how
they
courts
retract that
work.
question. I
He's
want to
just
ask this
gonna
question
fucking
instead. If you want to interrupt,
shout.
sorry, you want to interrupt? You can interrupt.
Yeah, like.
So you
I'll
stand up
interrupt.
in the middle of his stammering. I mean, there was things, and you say, what is it? You say? Ask.
I said, how often was Fruth Lagoon next to Captain Yamada?
Lovood.
Lagoon.
Fruth Lovood.
Fruth Lagoon.
Yeah. Lovood.
Lagoon. Cookie.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I mean, Fruth was Mr. Lavoud, as I probably should say in order to use his correct moniker, was probably, well, as a matter of fact, you said it probably quite a bit. If I remember correctly, I'm not really sure. I mean, he was the bosun, so I mean, they were in charge of talking to the. Honestly, the only other person other than me that could tell the crew not to do a stupid thing because it was my kitchen, my rules. Is Cookie knows best. Cookie, as I said, knows cookies, but it was other the bosun, and they were because they were in charge of making sure the crew was upright, straight, right, and flying narrow.
And did you notice this encrustening, if you will, of Yamada's
Yes.
personality to
Mm,
be in correlation with Fruth Lavood being on the ship?
I did notice that the broiling and browning beyond the current aspects of what a cooker should be may remain soft and gooey in the center did occur. Now that you mention it, did kind of, if I were timing chickens in order to roast them on a spit, I would say that those two chickens were probably in the fire at the same time.
And on Fruth Lavood's mysterious disappearance, in the conclusion of the events at Zonkor, did you notice perhaps a return to Captain Yamada's appropriate crustiness?
I have a question for you guys above the board now. Is Captain Amada Yukari in the courtroom right now?
I don't know.
That's up to you. Did you want her to be here? During this.
I feel like it. I don't know. I feel like it would be weird for us not to have her there, so she would.
Yeah.
Okay. This
And
is
again,
going to be
I wanted to like really build on that she was not of her right mind to convince
Sure.
even her.
We're going to get
of
to
that.
that. It's
Yeah,
more of like
but even
during
I
this
wanna-
line
I
of
want her to
questioning.
be convinced of that too, so that we
Okay.
can get her on our side.
So,
That we're going that angle.
what I'm going to say is that if you want her to be here, it might be worth using a scheme as part of trying to gather her as a witness. You know what I mean? Trying to convince her that you should testify on the behalf of what it is that you're trying to convince them, or be
But,
present
but I'm
during
saying
the
that
court.
I want this to happen first, and then I want to convince.
That's fine, but that's what I'm questioning is like, if you want her here, if you said that she's here, you have to convince her to be even here in the first place. Not just like when you call people as a
she's
witness, they're present in the
She's
courtroom.
kind- she's kind of on
Doesn't
trial.
she kind of have to be here?
Yeah,
Isn't
she's
she
also
on trial?
she's kind of on trial right now too.
She technically is. It is kind of a class action. Technically, by law, she has to be here.
I was gonna say it'd be really
Does that mean
weird
that
if
she
wasn't.
fucking shows up?
I mean, couldn't she be court-martialed if
She could, maybe, if
If-
they can fucking find her.
Is she not here? I guess. is
That's
the
what I'm
question.
saying. I was like, I think, as you had mentioned yourself, her state of her mental state and her self value state is probably very fragile right now. So I think it's kind of up in the air as to what she would decide. Now we can leave it to a die roll.
I
Or
was
you
under
can
the assumption that it wasn't that she had to, and that she was here under law.
by law she has to, but nobody really has to do anything.
Okay, but then wouldn't she be like detained if she wasn't here?
If they can find her.
You think she's just rogue? She just fucking dipped out?
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying like there is a chance where when presented with all of this shit that could happen to her, she could break. And be very unpredictable in her actions. As you have witnessed and you have said yourself, she was ready to take her own life at one point. How does showing up at court for a military case compare to that for her? And like losing her possible love and a bunch of other things, like why would she, like knowing that she could possibly be torn from her love, why would she leave it, just go to court? Like these types of things. So there's definitely a possibility that these things happen. Now, in the efforts of being transparent, I can leave it to a die roll and we can just let Rook decide whether she does show up or not. Or you can use a scheme to try to convince her to show up and be on your side a little bit.
Can we use the
do
die to
a-
see if she is, and then if she's not, can we use a scheme?
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Because if she's
Sure.
that unstable, she might show up anyway.
I'll say, yes, you can, but that will make the scheme more difficult. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. You want me to roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 12. So I think she is more on the fence of showing up. But I think she's undecided about, I don't think she's on anybody's side at the moment. I think she's very fragile. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you want to use a scheme to try to get her more on your side, you can.
Yeah.
These are the
we have
types of
to-
things that could like possibly
Yeah.
affect the aspect and like lower the DC type of thing when you get more witnesses on your side, that type of thing.
She
That's up to
needs
you.
So if we need to use a scheme to do that,
I
then-
can't hear you, bud.
I said she needs to be here, so if we need to use a scheme token, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
She's here, but she's not on anybody's side.
So
at the
could
moment.
we? I guess.
Oh,
this
she's
is an
here.
She's here. That she
Oh,
rolled
great.
12. She's here, but she is not she's not convinced to be on one side or the other.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
very fragile right now.
Yeah.
So
You could use a scheme to try to push that a little bit more to your side, and that could affect some aspect stuff. This is what I mean by like
wanna
using
do that
abilities and
later
stuff.
after this interrogation if we need to. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right, so you've got Cookie up on the stand.
Because I think this
So-
interrogation might push her towards our side a little bit.
You got
more.
it. You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, a Scoop's question stands about. I'm sorry, your question that you had
burning
asked.
of the cookie happened at the same
Yeah.
time. It's
The
rude.
burning of the cookie, and what were you asking afterward that I didn't answer?
I was asking, did she return to the appropriate level of crustiness as a cookie, the appropriate tough cookie crustiness when Fruth Lavude was no longer on the ship, suspiciously directly following the events at Zonkor?
You see Cookie make eye contact with the captain Imada Yukari, and she has a blank 1,000-yard stare. And then Bellario goes, "Objection. Not counsel, but witnesses looking to the audience, the pit for guidance. I don't believe that's allowed." And the judge, blind as they are, kind of like gazes and puts their hand out to somebody who is standing next to them that kind of like, does some sort of like sign language or something in their hand to kind of give them confirmation that that is what happened. And they say, and the judge says, "Sustained."
I agree with that.
With a
objection.
member,
Right here, witness. You and me.
so you're like, witness, like, will the member of the audience, I can't remember what it's called, but with the member of the,
Court.
well,
Right.
the member of the court who is observing, please remove themselves from the chambers until this witness has finished their testimony. And Captain Amata stands up, and she walks out. He then
Alright, that sucks.
it's almost like Bellario was kind of catching on to what was happening because
Yeah.
he's a really fucking good lawyer.
Is it possible I could say the witness didn't move at all?
You can always rebuttal an objection. Like, you can always do that.
Yeah.
Be like, you can be like,
What do
objection,
you say?
and then you could say, why is that an objection? This is making sense. And then it's up to the judge to
Objection.
say, like,
the
you don't say
the
objection to an
objection
objection.
the objection. Double objection.
Counterspell.
No, that's not.
Well, it's obvious that we're not. It's counterspell. It's obvious that we're not real lawyers. So I'll say double objection.
Sure.
The objection is about the witness, which I agree shouldn't be looking to the court, but the court has a right to observe the standings. I agree. I believe that I think the witness should look only at me and at the.
Okay, go ahead and
those
roll a
questions.
persuasion check.
Uh, 16.
16. The judge looks, well, doesn't look, but just kind of like can tell where you guys are. Their gaze moves just because they're good at hearing and they know like where people are in the courtroom. So I'll use looks from now on. Don't at me. Looks you, the witness, to where the sound in the court happened. That's sustained, but rather than remove the witness, rather than remove the court member, because we rewound, I will remand that you as the witness keep your eyes on the person asking questions, and that you as the interrogator or the cross-examiner, or however, whatever. Sorry, I forgot my words. Do not suggest that their gaze look for someone other than the direction. Do not lead the witness.
I never.
Or ask
I
someone
never
other to
did
allude.
or would.
Very well. So that's a D6 for you on that one.
Yay.
Hey
Get it.
yo.
Get it. All right, so this is
Does
for
anybody?
the.
Do we have an official place to keep track of these? This is our first one.
And this is going to just be for the overall argument for.
This is the argument for if I doing this correctly, for the argument that Captain Amata Yukari was not of sound mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement on
We
that?
have an official zone of writing this down.
I
No.
I keep track of all the DC stuff. But I
mean-
can possibly here. Let's see what I can do here.
mean, I'm writing down. I can.
I
Try
think it's going to
keep
be up to
track.
you guys to keep track of per argument. What I'll say is like, Amada crazy.
Okay, so I'll keep track, and you keep track too, TJ, and
You'll just have to remind me to do it. Gaze 1d6. Okay. Not crazy, but you understand. Just shorthand.
not. A
So
sound.
then they finally like lock eyes with you as you find their gaze. All right, well, I just. They feel bad about this because what about their sake? You want to interrupt them? Go ahead.
Oh no, were they speaking?
Yeah, they're about to speak. They're like, well, they're
Okay.
just pausing because they're like really wondering if they should say a certain thing. And they take a while. Amada was a hollow husk of a person after what had happened. I was the only person she let within, 5 feet of her, or 30 feet of her after that those events happened. And I know the reason why I did it because all the other crew were afraid to do so, not out of like fear of being over honorable, but because of it was their captain, and well, everybody talks to the cook, everybody loves the cook, and you better, or you ain't gonna eat. But and so I spoon fed her for about 4 days straight in order to make sure that she didn't die of starvation. I can't say that she was better and she got more warm and gooey, but I can say that whatever center she did have from that hard exterior, she felt more like a pile of ash than any type
Was
of
there-
cookie.
Was there a moment? Was there an exact moment that you noticed her go from being a full cookie to empty cookie?
I can't rightly say, but I would say that that day in of itself was quite the turning point. I like to consider myself rather an insightful and perceptive individual, as is my job. I'm like your fellow bartender, except I feed you, so you better be careful. But I wasn't. I may not have been present upon the deck during all of the happenings of whatever may have precipitated what had happened, but I do know that the aftermath of which left her hollow. And what she was, she had, for as far as I know, 3 states of being. One seemed like a nice, perfectly crunchy exterior that was hard, like a person who leads people should be, but also soft in the center to help with the nice moral compass. And then the second one was, burnt throughout. And I was wondering where that compass was pointing. And the third one was, if you took that cookie and threw it into the fire, there wasn't really much left.
The
And,
third stage of
yeah.
doneness, would you say that she seemed to be filled with regret?
I saw tears. I would say regret. Either that or
Shame.
something much worse. Shame. Guilt. I heard from the crew what was the prevailing theory or whatever might happen and what people said proved what happened, and I try not to take too much stock in rumor, but I do like the drama. But this was more than drama. This was serious. I tried making a couple things I know she liked in order to make sure that she could come back to us. We loved her as much as we don't say that we do as much, because not allowed. And then the cook gazes as the military in the jury, just for a moment, just for a very fleeting moment, and you can see them like have a kind of a visceral reaction to that statement of like, there's definitely a type of platonic love among like, leaders and their groups and platoons and captains and that type of thing, and that viscerally hit really fucking hard with them. But you can also then see him remember, oh, I'm not supposed to like make eye contact and influence those types of things, because you saw Bellario Berardo Gingano like literally intaking air to make an
I'll just
objection.
say, well, to be fair, you're allowed to you can make eye contact with the jury. That's who we're speaking to, right? The jury should be an impartial subject.
You see
of peers,
the
and
wind
so you
kind
can
of
speak to and look at the jury. Like that's who we're like trying to talk to and convince.
you see the wind kind of like blow out of Bellario's sails. I think actually, a Scoop, why don't you go roll an insight check for me since you're so good at this?
Oh, damn. 15.
I think you get the sense that Bellario Barato Bengano is not used to military cases as much as he is civil or, criminal, which would make, a decent amount of sense. So as far as being able to like appeal to the jury on same types of grounds and not being able to keep them separate from it, he's a little caught off guard.
Hey.
Like this is the only time you've seen him like backpedal even the slightest, because you don't think he's accounted for the camaraderie of brothers in arms or comrades in arms, because that's not his thing. You don't think he's fought a day in his life other than in the courtroom. So that's what you get. You find like a tiny sliver of kryptonite under this armor.
That could be a difficult question. But was it hard for you to see somebody that you respect, might I even say love, do something that they regret and are ashamed of so deeply?
You see them hold back tears and say, yes.
And do you maybe, by association, feel that same guilt and shame?
Yes. If I may admit something, then
Of course.
there were nights where I pondered that we were all so very guilty. And that we didn't deserve any of the food on board. And I almost pushed a couple barrels overboard while we were on the open sea. But I didn't.
Well, regardless of the crimes committed, everybody deserves to eat. And I'll like choke back some of my tears to kind of drive it home.
Yeah.
Go roll a performance check.
Yeah. Do I use my tides this early? How did you say it works? When do we get a long rest?
You have one long rest's worth of abilities for the entire court proceedings of both cases.
For both cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
I know.
But remember how tides works. It's you use it, and then literally at any time I can proc your wild magic, and then you get it recharged.
Yeah, if I cast a spell, but I'm not here casting.
No.
like,
At
personal
any
spells.
I think
Yeah, anytime.
No, that's
I
when
think
I
it's-
cast a spell.
Is that what it says? I thought it
Yeah.
was literally any time.
No, that's when I cast the spell.
Right, but I mean, you could be casting spells. Like you could be doing stuff in this courtroom. Like you can use your abilities, just like Tides of Chaos, and casting spells in order to help.
Yeah, but all my spells are like attack spells.
If there's any verbal too, just remember the.
Yeah, like
I also
the,
have
the,
subtle
the judge does not appreciate you casting spells on them to influence their thing because they caught you too. And that was like not okay.
No, it was caught me. That's,
Yeah, that's what I meant. You, the royal you.
And it was affecting Bellario, not the judge.
It's up to you.
I think I might just kind of boost it a little bit with a sorcery point. No, sorry.
It's all right.
Forgive me.
It's all right. We'll give you a couple more seconds before we move on, because
I can use third level. Trying to use my meta magic here.
The way the trickster Fruth talked to you, Cookie, was it different the way he talked to Captain Yamada? Like hand gestures, verbal. He had.
I
stuff in
never
his
much
hand.
cared for cell swords. Really, they weren't really my bag. I'm more of an honor-bound individual. People are gonna do a certain type of thing, and let's make sure that
But was there any difference? Did he use his hands?
when he talked to me, oh,
Yes, when he talked to you versus when he talked to Captain Yamada.
little spit fuck never talked to me.
Well, what about anyone else? You said you're very perspective.
Perceptive.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had to talk to the other. I think he viewed me as a threat. Because I was the only person, although not officially, but still had this just as much trust and well, sway over the crew as he did. And so I think he viewed me as a threat. I don't like him, of course, now and out there more than I know about what it was, but I would say, I mean, he liked reassuring people with a hand on their shoulder, but nothing out of the ordinary that I could really understand. He was very hands-on with Captain Amata, however. Rather quickly, too. Seemed he fell into her good graces. Well, I mean, I've known Amata for quite a while. She's not a quick to trust type of person except for those members of her crew. But even the second day after he was out at sea with us, she was insulted by the fact that I had said to her that he was maybe overstepping some of his bounds when it came to some things. Well, I mean, for example, he tried to make sure that certain rounds were done by only certain members of crew. And I said, that's not his. And when he went to grab his food from me, I just told him that's not his job. And that he was like, and that he might want to, take it a little slow and gather more respect from the crew before he starts barking like big old changing orders. And all he did was snort, huff, and walk away. And I tried to let Amata know, just like I usually do, keep tabs on everybody. And she was offended by the fact that I was throwing shade to old Fruth. Which I probably was my first sign that something was a little different.
Tamron?
Just a quick question. It says, I'm trying to bend luck on myself, but it says when another creature you can see makes an attack roll, ability check, blah, blah, blah. So that means
Then
I
I
can't cast it on myself, right?
I don't
Is that
think you
what
can
that
do it on
means?
yourself. Yeah, no.
All right, then I got a 9 for my.
9 for your performance. So what does a 9 look like faking crying for you in the courtroom? He's just batting his eyes. Scoop, you think that Tamron just has something in his eyes and he's just standing there and he's like blind because he can't get this thing out of his eyes.
Well, the real argument is him crying, not me. So that's I stand by that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
It's like
that's the thing that
you're
drives it
looking-
home.
Yeah, it's just like
You're
a
like
Scoop is like
Like,
Because
Yeah,
because part of me is like, yes, he's fucking crying, yes. So like I'm like elated, you know what I mean? So I'm like I'm trying to cry and look sad, but like I'm like really
smiling.
elated that like I got the like what I wanted. You know what I mean?
sure. So you're smiling like
Yeah, it might be convincing to some of them. It
Yeah,
means a
yeah, we'll
9,
see
it's
what
not a
happens.
2, you know?
I think there's a bunch. I think there's probably Scoop probably notices it, but there's a couple like, like faces of like I don't,
so like,
I'm hoping the attention is on the witness and not me.
Yeah, it's definitely more on the witness. Yes, absolutely. It was like, well, do you have any more questions for me?
Not at this time. I see that this was distressing for you, and I would, you know, I don't want to push too far on you.
Bellario, so you sit down and Bellario got to go like, well, I do wish to make sure that I cross-examine my witness, if that would be so kind. The judge, you know, pulls her hand. Well, I have only 2 questions for you, Mr. Cookie. Mr. Cookie, as is your capacity for the cook aboard this non-cuisine centered vessel of marine and aquatic persuasion, is in your job description or requirement for your profession as such to be the ship's counselor. And you see that Cookie goes, well, I mean, not officially, no. All right, well, then I'll ask you this question. Are you certified in any type of psychology, mental physiology, or behavioral studies whatsoever in any of your tenure among the Sutamabora? Well, no, and I'll rest my case. Your witness.
Do ships have psychologists on board?
May I have permission to respond to counsel? Judge says, this is highly unorthodox, but make it quick. I have here several documentations of many ships that actually do have on board a counselor, specifically quite a few that are military inclined, one of which is even the flagship, not of the Cauldron Initiative, but of the Dynasts themselves. They keep 3 counselors on board for obvious reasons, as are quite a few other trade ships to make sure that people on long voyages are able to find solace and counsel among the ship. The Cauldron
I think
Initiative
that's a
is
lovely idea.
Well, the Cauldron Initiative is technically, under subsection 3C, not required to have such a counselor. However, almost every other ship of the Naval Center is. So, there's no counselor on board. You are not a counselor. And yet you are making grandiose decisions on the wherewithal of people's state of mind.
Objection. Nobody's making decisions. This is purely a character witness.
Well, I withdraw my statement. But, Jury, don't you think it's a little interesting that someone without any credentials is making such a profound value judgment on people's behavior.
If I could just
Are you making an objection yet again, or
Yes.
are you trying to interrupt my cross-examination?
Oh, you
You
said
said
you
you
only
were
had two
done.
questions, and I thought your two questions were done. I'm sorry.
Well, you can either. It appears we've got some people in here that don't know how the court works. You can either make an objection to one of my
I never
statements as
said
part
I
of the
know
cross,
how court works. It's pretty obvious.
can
by
either
now
make an
that none of us
objection.
do.
a part of my cross-examination of one of my questions for a certain type of reason, or you already had your moment to ask any questions. You can ask more questions after I'm done.
I just want to address the jury whenever.
To
you're
the
done.
witness, not to me.
He said
No,
he
to the
was
jury.
done.
I'd like to. The witness is done. I'm just saying I would like to. I don't know how this works. I'm
No,
sorry.
Bellario.
You may
I
not
apologize
address
to
the
the
jury
judge. I'm
outside of
sorry.
opening and closing statements. Well,
Are you-
technically,
what?
that's not necessarily true.
Huh? Isn't this whole thing addressing the jury? Isn't this all we're doing? Is addressing the jury? I'm so confused. I'm sorry.
Technically, you can. Judge, if you allow, can we just humor this individual for a moment so we can move on to the next point? The judge is like, both of you are on thin ice with me. Move it along and get to your points. And they throw their hands up.
I apologize to your honor for not really understanding how courts work. I'm just a archaeologist, not a lawyer. Never been in this situation. I'm sorry.
Cookie's on the stand like,
I would like to say, as somebody who's been on a ship, certainly with no psychologists on board, the closest thing you can get to a psychologist on board a ship who has no psychologist, is the cook.
we have
They-
that on the
they
record.
Talk to everybody. They know more than most people.
Fuck.
Did I do something wrong?
Just make sure we have that on the record that the ships in which the prosecution does not have a counselor.
What?
That's all.
Shouldn't have said that there was no psychologist on board our ship because I'm
There's
literally
no
trying to
psychologists on board their ships.
on our ship because I'm trying to get my degree, so I'm a legitimate medical witness.
You see him sit down with a big old smile on his face.
What?
Because I'm trying to get my right now outside of court. I'm trying to get my degree so that I can be a psychological evaluator that is a true medical doctor for Amada's
State of mind.
state of mind. And you just said that there was not a psychologist on board our ship.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Gosh.
Maybe.
And with that, we're gonna go to Nakano and
Man,
Machete.
fumbled it right at the finish line, huh?
Literally right at the fucking finish line.
I mean, you could probably try to read. I don't know. You could try to read. You could maybe try to read.
You're not there.
I know.
We're
I
going
know.
back. So, Machete
outside.
and Nakano.
Maybe.
What is your intent?
What?
Well, I can't hear you.
What did you say?
Maybe like he can, like if you were to.
Can you put your
Evergold.
microphone closer? I fully can't.
Oh
hear
yeah,
you.
but he could like that could have been like a misunderstanding, I mean, like some people can mess up, right? And it's,
in
like,
court,
out of, out of confusion, a lot of things going on.
you want the
I'm
prosecution.
confused. That's why I made that mistake.
You want the prosecution
lot
to
going
plead
on.
insanity?
No.
Like, you can like withdraw statements if people object to them, but I mean,
The
when
purpose
stuff's
that
on the record,
I was
it's
just
on
trying
the
to
record.
prove that I was just trying to say that the cook is on board a ship. Cook is as much as
I can't hear you either. You gotta.
I
stay
don't know.
close
I
to the-
fucked up. I'm just gonna let it ride.
Just, I mean, yeah. I can't say anything because I wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Um,
like I said, Nakano and Machini, what is you wanted to do out of court actions? What do you want to do? What's your intent?
I mean, I want to go get my board exam taken and done. I guess if we can only do it through the Sawbones guy, I would like to do it more legitimately if possible, but I don't know how much time we have. But it still would be legal. Still no my stuff.
So just for the sake of time, what is it that you are trying to do?
I'm trying to take the board exam, and Nakano may be doing something else.
Okay, so
Medical board exam.
Nakano, what are you trying to do?
Is there? Yeah, I have a question about the
Sure.
the board exam. Is there like ever a chance that they could ask like when she got the board exam, like a date?
I don't see why not, but if there's no date on the certificate, I mean, you are going to somebody that is not the most reputable individual. If there's no date on the thing,
I don't have to go to
technically-
somebody that's not reputable, though, right?
That's the person that Alario was able to get you with. You can try to go to someone else. It just might. Here, what I'm saying is that this is the person that you have the greatest chance of getting what it is you need to get with the severely shortened time span that you need to get these things done when. Does that make sense?
Sure.
To go through like proper, fully moral, all those other type of channels, that's going to be far more protracted. And you know that. You absolutely know that. You know how long it took you to fucking get your Animajin certification to begin with. It took like, half of your fucking lifetime to do that. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to do really anything. It's just like these seem to be the options that would be able to, for time purposes.
Okay.
Nakano, as you were saying,
Well, I'm trying to figure out a way out of my hole. Just real quick.
yeah, sure.
You're not technically certified as of the time that I said that, right?
She was certified before what she got certification became defunct and no longer a recognized accredited university because the nation was in like civil war.
It's
much,
almost
I see.
like
Okay.
it's almost like if here in the U.S. a doctor has license to practice in one state, they need to get a license to practice in another state too.
And technically, they
Okay.
can also practice abroad, but they have to pass a certain type of things when they.
So
move
I could
abroad.
just say that it was just technically an unlicensed psychologist.
If you want to admit that,
That's still
But that is the fact, though, right? According to their law.
I was unlicensed at the time, but I'm trying to prove right now that I have the medical knowledge to be able to
I think
assess somebody.
the fact of what happened over there, because information was so kind of blockaded, and when it happened, and when the actual specifics of when and what happened, probably is to your benefit, and it remains to your benefit to
'Cause
keep it
I
ambiguous.
just learned that she wasn't technically licensed.
Yeah, we both
Right.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's probably to your benefit to keep that ambiguous, and it would probably work better to your advantage to also be like, well, I'm licensed now and I was licensed then, and the time in between is who knows what because of like the blockade of information, all these other types of things, or again, and to Angela's question, this actually is a very good question. Nakano, you are a very good rogue. You're really good. You're an assassin. You actually have a fucking ability that says that you can forge fucking documents. And you're really fucking good at it. So you could absolutely, you're really good at it. You could absolutely, if given the proper paperwork and her, bribing this person to get what it
Yeah.
is that they want, you could absolutely fucking change the date and make it look exactly like it was supposed to, that she got it with very little downtime.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. You actually
That
have
could
a
happen.
specific
Okay.
ability that allows you for like a second identity and allows you to forge documents really well. Like you have, it's actually part of your features as part of your
And it's not
subclass.
a one-time thing either.
No, you can do it as
Yeah.
many fucking times as you want. You just have to roll for it each time. But you're really
Okay.
fucking
Maybe
good
I'm
at
just a
forging documents.
dumbass who didn't realize there was a psychologist on board.
I think that is very
I've never
Cameron.
been- you've never psychologically evaluated me, so I just never.
Yeah.
got to
Not
see
that
it,
you
know what
are
I mean?
aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I'm actually Batman keeping tabs on everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I
in
think
case she
that-
needs to kill
Okay.
all of you.
So here's the thing: the way that's more effective for you to keep tabs psychologically on people is for them to not know they're being psychologically evaluated.
Guys, you are
Right.
going so fucking reverse
going
psychology meta with all of this, and I'm so here for it. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Let's go.
All right.
So,
Like,
but we have
yeah.
to give Angela and
Yeah.
Noelle
She-
their time
Sorry.
to shine.
We want to
It's
make
okay.
sure that she's credible, right? And so
Yeah.
she's been doing this. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. And also maybe like you didn't know that she had. Yeah, you didn't know this information. That's why you didn't say that we had on board.
I never disclosed that
Yeah.
I have.
You
You
never
really did.
disclosed
I mean,
it.
I always thought
classes.
you were like a more of
You
a doctor
can-
of the body, unless I didn't
I
realize. you were
am.
more-
Granted,
I am, but you have to
if
take
I
like
may
a psych
interject.
class.
If I may interject, ignorance of the law is not an excuse of the law. That type.
We're
type
not
of
talking
thing.
about
I
the
know, it's
law.
stupid. No, I'm saying like
It's
not
the
knowing
law
that
to
you
have a
weren't that you're
psychologist on board.
no, but not knowing that you weren't able to practice medicine is not an excuse for practicing medicine.
No,
without
but it
a
would
license,
excuse my
you know?
statements of saying that there was not a psychologist on board.
Perhaps, yeah. Okay, so Machete and Nakano, perhaps. So knowing what you know, what are y'all doing? Remember, if any of you guys go down, even one of them, we gotta do.
Yeah,
you
the
have to use the
recess.
recess and everything. We gotta pull get pulled
can
back.
Am I like poking around too for evidence?
It's entirely up to you what you want to do. I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
weren't talking to me.
Yeah. I think if I can just take this exam. I mean, it's a Scantron bubble sheet. Like it's not that hard, I think what's the Sawbones guy like?
Except
This
it's-
is like first year stuff that I got to know from him. But anyway,
It's an operation, pretty much.
yeah.
The
So-
board game.
So I'll do
Yeah.
I'll do this. If you can I don't know if you want to fudge some dates. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know until now, but if you do that, and then I don't know if you want to like maybe tonight we go and like do some sneaky stuff, and I can like you could be super sneaky, or like I could just like keep watch out for you as you sneak
Maybe,
around. You're just really good
yeah.
at sneaking.
Yeah. Have
we're
you as
both
a pair of eyes in the signal? Me.
Y-
anything
Yeah,
goes down.
if for some reason we're both like
We
feeling
gotta
kind
be
of
real careful now.
Yeah, if we're both feeling kind of crappy too, with like, we didn't do yoga classes this morning, and so we're not that stealthy. Like I could throw a little magic on it too to kind of hide this. So, okay.
So my question is, are you doing both things together, or are you splitting up?
I'm not gonna do obviously I'm not doing the exam part.
Right. I
Obviously.
would do the exam. Nakano would make the documents a little bit
You
more
st-
legit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
But
pass-
while
That's
she's
how
doing
she's
the
helping
exam,
you
I
with
could like
that.
poke. But while
Yes.
she's doing the exam, I could look around and plan for my
Yeah.
next move later.
You got it. So
Machete.
Machete is doing the exam, and then Nakano's helping her with that by helping,
Yeah.
alter
Right.
documents. And then Nakano by herself, while the exam is happening, is going to go
Yeah.
see if she can get
Not
protected national security
not
shit.
not everything by herself. She's just going to scope out a little bit, and then
Scope it out,
later,
yeah.
And then wait for you?
Machete is going to go with her to kind of act as a second set of eyes and try to help out if need be.
Okay. So I'm going to truncate that a lot for the sake of time.
Cool.
But what I'll say is, depending on what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you, Nakano, roll perception and investigation checks while you scope things out. And that is going to give you options as to how you want to approach this whole type of infiltration. Honestly, here the rub here is going to be, if you don't do well on these, you won't be able to know where this shit is at all. Remember, you heard that Vodomo and the Daifon are here. Your best bet is to probably find where they are and try to grab some of those documents, because you best believe they carry that shit with them. Especially someone who, enacted said laws and whatever. So if you don't roll well, you won't be able to find either of them. And then you'll have to take your chances with perhaps an official building.
So I get
Um,
to choose investigation or perception.
You're going to have to do both. I think first is going to be perception, while you kind of walk around and just try to keep your eyes open. And then investigation is you going to be like snooping a little harder.
Okay. They're the same number. Oh, wait, but different because one's higher investigation.
Oh, the same number on the
So-
die, but different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
11. That means something.
11 for perception total.
No, I meant 11.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey,
Die rolls.
not bad. Make a wish.
So perception is 14
Okay.
and investigation is 19.
Okay. I'll say because you have because of your previous interaction with the Vodomo, if you remember at the Legal Eagle, this is what I called it, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's just a funny name. That's
you
all.
probably have a I'm not saying this is a smell, but you just probably have better instincts when it comes to tracking this person down by the way they carry themselves. Like you're able to predict more of like their actions and where they would go. If I were the Vodomo, where would I hide out? Like where would I be? That type of thing. And getting like you do that thing. You do that pattern recognition thing where you're like it's wild, but you and I do this all the time. But like by the shape of their cheekbones, they play the saxophone, or like the way they walk, they're gonna stay at a a Motel 6 instead of like a Marriott. Like you could just tell these things, and that's just because like massive fucking pattern recognition. This is like what you do. You're an assassin, right? You pick up these tiny little things, and the odds of them doing this type of thing is just. It just occurs to you. So you have a far better chance of tracking down the Vodomo, so you go that type of way. You are able to kind of like narrow down where you think the Vodomo would be. And one of the things you got from the Vodomo was like, this is a very intelligent individual that specializes in staying secret, hidden, and incognito. In every aspect and capacity except for their official capacity. So they're going to do something very meta, which is people would think they would not want to be in high society areas, and so you'd think they would go in for other lower society areas, but people would think that they would go in lower society areas, so they go to upper class type areas. To try to throw off the scent twice ways, but not still being the top of the crust, which is kind of like vaguely hiding in plain sight, which is exactly what you would do if you were in their shoes. And you hit the nail on the head as you kind of narrowed down to like one block within Namung of like where this person would be, because your instincts are just screaming at you. Your investigation is 19 as you are snooping around and doing your casing and just, trying to make it look like you belong. You recognize the gait of an individual. This person doesn't look familiar at all, but you recognize the gait of the way they walk, and what housing. It looks like kind of like a lofted, hip and gable type building. That has about like 3 stories that this person like walks up and then goes through like soji doors and then goes around the balcony and then goes up, and you're like, there's again, your instincts are screaming at you where like that the person doesn't look similar at all, but the way they walk invokes memories of Honoria and this fuck that I like punched in the face. So you feel like you found the building and the individual. It's going to be really hard to identify this individual, but you feel like you've narrowed down the building. That is like a 1 in a billion thing to do, by the way. That's like really fucking hard to do.
Yeah.
But you're fucking professional. In a city of who knows how many hundreds of thousands, if not a million, you were able to track down basically one individual that did not want to be found. Great. So you do that. So while you're doing that, Masheni, we're just going to do rolls. Basically, it's basically operation.
Yeah.
You walk to the Sawbones, and there's this like half goblin, half gnomish individual that's just like, what? Hi! Hello!
Hi, I am a fellow practitioner. I thought maybe you could certify me.
Right! You're the
Yeah.
You're the trash Eddie person!
Nope, that's my sister. Miss Jenny. Yeah.
Mash with Benny! Let's go!
Yes.
This
all right.
person recently died. Let's see if we can make them not dead.
All right. Where's gloves?
What?
Do you have gloves?
What are gloves? Here we go!
Okay,
And they
all
just
right.
shove their hands into the body.
I use Druidcraft to just like create basically a little flame to sanitize my hands, and I jump right.
Sure, I'll give you advantage for that stupid thing. Sure. Basically, you're this person is actually heck. You know what? Go ahead and roll a medicine check. This is going to be fantastic.
Nice.
There's no reason this person should have a license, by the way.
Cool. That's a 29.
29. This person's not dead. They're alive.
What the hell?
And they're just like, we're going to make them alive again.
So I see that the heart. No, but
Quiet while I'm squishing.
no, but the heart is squishing. It's squishing already.
Yeah, because I'm squeezing it.
No. Just let your hands go. Let your hands go. See, it's
Ooh,
already going. Right?
you're
You
good
did
at
such
this.
a good job. You did such
Cool.
a good job.
Can you take care of the water on the knee? I'll take care of the Charlie horse.
Sure. And I just sew up the heart so that it's not beating in open air anymore
Sure.
simultaneously, you know.
And the person goes to the Charlie, like, stop being a Charlie horse, and they take a big like horseshoe and they just whack the leg a couple times. Great, fantastic. You just need a little, gotta crease the blood through, and you just bite onto a little bit without puncturing. All right, cool. Okay, why don't you close that up, and I will massage the intestines.
You want me to close up the Charlie horse, not the intestines?
What did I say?
You pointed there, not the
I don't
intestines.
remember. Just close it up, whatever. It's okay.
All right. All
I-
right.
And then I will suck out the kidney stones. Here we go. You're there.
you can usually flush those out, but yeah, okay.
Ooh, there it goes. All right.
I'm doing little sutures behind. I'm
Yeah,
and I'm
think
like
you're
trying
cleaning
to
up with
like
this person,
whisper
yeah.
into this person's ear. It's gonna be okay. I'm here. It's all
Oh
right.
man, that leg though, that foot. Oh dear.
Um,
It's looking really, really black.
I mean, you
really
did
green.
kind of hit it with.
I think it's got gangrene. I think we
No,
have to amputate.
Well, I think hold on. It's black and green
How about
because
I
you hit
just,
it with
like,
a
do this after?
horseshoe. You hit it with a horseshoe and it's bruising. I think. Just because it's only localized to that spot where you just hit it.
Bruising.
Right. Do you see how there's a little bit?
It's
bruise
just
there?
dirt.
It's from
it's
the
just a
horseshoe.
dirty
yeah,
foot.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
all right. We'll just clean that foot. I almost amputated a dirty foot. No worries at all. It's not like I
Yeah.
needed another foot for any of my experience at all. Okay. Well, I think we're done here. What did you need from me?
Certification that I know what I'm doing. Did that
Oh,
match
sure.
kind
Just
of your
grab one
expect-
from the pile on the way out.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, right. You need me to sign it.
Yeah, I do need that signature.
There you go.
Do you mind just doing like
That's my name.
do you mind if like I outline it with ink just so it's a little more
Sure.
permanent?
You can call me Loogie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Luki. Yeah.
There you go. Pretty painless-ish for you.
Yeah, for me, I was like, again,
With a 29 in medicine, I couldn't fucking give you anything hard. I mean, come on.
I probably saved that person's life.
Oh yeah, no, they're probably alive and still have a foot because of you. So you and Nakano meet up. Nakano, you see she hands you a piece of paper that has a big old semi-dried loogie in it that's outlined in ink.
That was what I got. They're apparently certified. They really shouldn't be, but hey, you know, if that's what it requires in this town, God, their medical practices are really out of date. But that's okay.
Why
Whatever.
don't you go ahead and roll a thieves' tools check for me, Angela Nakano, to see like I'll just roll this into you finding out what it is you can do and then how well you do it. type of thing. And if you want
What
to
is
change
a-
that, you just let me know.
What
Thieves
is
tools
it, a
is just
thief?
so thieves tools is something it's not a skill, but if you remember, it is something that you are proficient in as a rogue. But if you chose that to be one of the abilities that you also had expertise in, it would be in like the bottom box all the way to the left type of thing. And like you might have put expertise next to it. We probably talked about it at some point. I think I remember you getting expertise into it or not. Choosing one of those. Does that make sense?
I don't. Yeah.
Do you see it anywhere?
No, but I
Or
do
says-
have. No, I don't have that.
You don't see the word thieves tools anywhere on your sheet?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I
how
do.
many-
Sorry. I do. Yep.
Did you like
Never
make a note
mind.
next to it that you have expertise or
Yes,
something?
I do.
There you go. Good. That's great.
Cool.
Okay. So that
I
means
can't
you're
read
gonna.
my handwriting.
It's okay. So what you're gonna do is that you're going to roll a
the doctor?
d20 and you're gonna add twice your proficiency, and that's gonna be the
Whoa.
number. Well, that's for everything you have expertise. You add
Yeah.
twice proficiency,
So,
and then
plus 8
whatever
right now,
stat
right?
is that too.
Or
It's
So-
Nakano's.
mine.
No. Twice your proficiency. What's your proficiency bonus?
Oh,
Up to the top left, ish.
4. Oh.
So it's
but
gonna be
it's
so
8 then.
roll d8 or roll. I'm sorry, roll a d20 and add +8. In this scenario, it's not really dexterity just quite yet. So
17.
17. You look at this and you're like, this is like the third easiest contract you've ever had to adjust and forge. You see that they left literally every other box other than the signing box blank, and so it's like a blank check. You can just fill it in. And so you do your best to try to be like, you don't know who this person was though. Like you don't know. I think it would behoove you to know.
Their name was Lugi. That's what they called themselves, at least when they introduced themselves to me. I mean, we could try to find out where they came from.
I mean, like as far as like things like pattern recognition, as far as like lineage and what they are and like their personalities, like you can tell them they were like half gnome, half goblin, like kind of spastic and everything. And then Nakano could be like, ah, gotcha. And you can do like kind of writing, very doctor-esque kind of writing, and you can fill this thing perfectly. You can put whatever fucking date on here you want. Like it's completely blank. You can also like put it up right to the point. You could even post date it to the point where you could guess is before the the fall of the boss, if you want to.
If we do that, though, then I already admitted that I didn't know and didn't have my certification. So, like, maybe it's like,
If you leave a gap of like a day or two where you didn't.
yeah, maybe that's a way to go. Like a day I was literally just fishing, so there'd be no legal ramifications, in between.
Yeah.
So maybe fish people might think I like,
It's up to you.
maybe just a
What do you
day
think?
or two.
Nakano.
Yeah. I think maybe sometime before. I don't know what the exact date is.
You don't need an exact date. It's
Oh.
just whether or not you're deciding whether you want to like post date it to the point where it is before the fall of the boss, or you want to like leave a couple days where
Before,
she
for
didn't
sure.
have her license, so that she'd like it's a little bit more believable. And when she said that she didn't have her license for some time, that makes sense.
You already said you didn't have it.
Yeah, I did. I told the
Ah.
judge already. I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't think that I could get it this easily.
It's like pretty much you're allowed to edit your grade for your fucking final, and rather than giving yourself 100%, you give yourself something,
Yeah, close
like
to
a B
it, yeah.
plus or something like that.
Right,
That's a little bit
yeah.
more believable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, let's
Um,
go with that. Something that they'll believe, because
Yeah.
we'll be
mean,
suspicious.
Maybe it was like.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah.
Don't be suspicious.
No.
Don't be suspicious.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you. I
Great.
appreciate that.
So for that, you guys get a D6.
Yay.
Okay. Yay.
And then we're gonna go back.
For just the captain was not sound mind argument, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go back. A scoop. You have a quick cross-examine questions, or if Tamron has any cross-examines for this specific witness, or if you'd like to call another
No,
witness.
I'd like to
that's
bury
next.
myself into the ground for the rest of
Okay.
the.
Oh,
Pat Tamron,
no.
I'd say good job.
No, you did so
Yeah.
good.
'Cause I don't know what
Alright.
the hell's going on.
Okay. So this witness leaves, and then the judge says, "Prosecution, next witness."
Can we end it here? I gotta go to work.
I kind of thought
Yes!
this would take all day.
Yeah, we could absolutely end that here. So we're gonna pick up with Cam. I gotta go to work. We will pick up with
Scoop's
the
gotta
new
make it to the
witness.
bakery, yo.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta head to the bakery. You gotta make that bread. We'll pick up with the new witness and with Nakano and Macheni infiltrating the domicile of Vadomo Varad or Dude. Sound good?
Yep.
Great. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time, and as always, stay safe out there.
Bye.
Bye.